Off I came back, wait.
No, no,
I'm
no.
still on.
We're all at fault. One person did something, and then the other person did something else. And while you were all doing that, I went and did something else.
No,
I'm not.
I'm sorry. I'm going to adopt Brian's approach here. If you don't agree with me, you're all wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't
I'm
want to
really
eat
trying
on.
to
I
upload
don't want
this
to eat on
video.
mic, so I'll have to be careful for a minute.
Yeah, don't do a casual.
Mm.
Yeah.
Talk with your mouth full. Oh dear.
Well, we can either get stuck straight into tonight's topic, or just to lighten the mood a bit, we'll grab out any of that dirt we were talking about, and we'll listen to a bit of dirt with a bit of their derpiness and explanations, and maybe a presentation of their dirt.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, like something like that.
And the only person that suggested any dirt was Brian somebody. Unless there was anything. I watched Jose's and a bit of Sean's today, and I don't think there was really anything happening much on their shows. Anyone doing anything?
Unless you want to be bored to tears for the first 2 hours of the day.
How far back have I got to go for flat?
Yeah, Jose did two streams yesterday.
Here we go.
Yeah, we did one last night.
Yeah, I mean that first one. Wow, I mean that that was just maddening. Absolutely maddening.
I know you were getting so annoyed.
Oh, poxy religion. What's that got to do with the shape of the bloody earth? Nothing at all. Oh.
Fred said, I see we've all watched Brian the Brain. No, Fred, I haven't actually watched this, so no spoilers, mate.
I haven't seen it. Is this Fight
So quarter of the way through, halfway through, 3/4 of the way through? You have to pick somewhere.
Oh God! Now you expect me to remember, and I only watched it 2 hours ago.
Yeah, no, I'm skimming through it. Oh, I can see.
Alan, are you giving me the entire list?
I can see some stuff happened earlier on.
Show off.
About there. Oh, okay. We'll go from there first because it looks.
Yeah, I thought I would show off.
Here we go. See what this is. What did Alan do? I missed it.
Alan is privately texting me.
Messaging
Of every bloody firearm he's used, it just keeps going.
That'd be right.
Only the military ones.
Yeah. Don't start the other ones, blimey.
Is this any of the Brian Guy stuff?
No, that's something that somebody did for Craig. That's Brian's.
Right. Okay, that's Brian there.
Yeah.
Is that Brian or is that someone else?
No, that's somebody else, and Brian's comes sort of just after it.
Okay. I'll start from there because it just jumps from there and then goes a little bit to there. Okay.
I'm just going to go and get it.
I'll just bring up the screen share.
Let me know if you can hear it okay out in the peanut gallery.
There we go.
Oh God!
Okay, I'm going to share it on Hangouts.
Yeah.
A moment where he's not talking. Fucking amazing.
Okay, should be seeing my screen now.
Yeah.
That's because he can't multitask.
This is.
Do you want to mute your mic on Hangouts?
Oh, sorry, I had a mute. Sorry, I had to restart Google. That's what it was. I haven't muted earlier. I had to restart Google. Sorry about that.
That's right.
So, sorry, I'll make this a bit bigger. So this is some photographs I took. The leveling of it from left to right is not 100% on these, but it's what I'm going to show. It's right forward and back. So I'm just going to show, this is pitted olive, a jar of olives. There's about 7 or 8 inches high. And there's another one, the same exact one down below from.
He said it's right forward to back. Is that his scientific terminology for forward to back?
Irish.
He doesn't do scientific terminology because much later on, Craig asked him, "Do you know what the sum of forces is?" And he said, "No, I've never heard of that." So, that's all you need to know, really. It's clear.
So how could we correct him in his misinterpretation of forward to back? Would it be on the axis, or would it be to do with perspective?
Well, I suppose technically that's longitudinal rather than lateral, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. I realise, it's quite a big word.
That's
Yeah.
sorry, brain farted.
Okay. Next time.
Could be worse.
Down the whole from it. And there's another salt, thing of salt that's higher again than both of those. It's like a sea salt or whatever. And I'm just going to show, from here I have the crosshairs just underneath the black cap, just underneath the cap. And it appears from there, it appears that the one at the other end is smaller or down below that height. Because the crosshairs, the center of the crosshairs is above the one down below, but it's not actually above it. It just appears that way. And I moved it just over the top of it, and I can't even see the red of the salt, the sea salt shaker, which is higher than these. The sea salt shaker is about an inch higher. And then I did it here in midway of the cap to show it again, and I moved the other olives closer.
Right.
And I did it again with that closer.
Yeah, in those photos, it does appear to do that, but I mean, we can see even there the few degrees off that the camera is, and we don't really know the leveling situation of the floor as it goes along. If you don't have things that are perfectly level, then you are going to get observations that aren't what you would expect. But I would put money on that if both the camera and the floor were level and everything was lined up with center frame, then you would get what you normally see of things just decreasing in size in totality rather than dropping down. It just comes back to the question of why that would happen. What visual phenomenon is causing that?
Well, with this here, let's just say just the photograph I have up there. I brought the other jar of olives closer. I just go back to the first one where it was further away. Now it was a lot further away there, and it was down lower. So when I bring it closer, it's up higher, closer to center frame here. Because no matter what I did with what I basically did is I knew I couldn't level the floor because I knew the floor was like the 2.9 there in this one is down to, it's always 2.9, 2.7 to 2.9. That's down to the floor and the jar that's on the floor. So I have the phone up next to the jar. I have the center frame about halfway up the cap here. If the closer I bring this back jar to this one, then the more it will align with it. So my point was to Jesse Kozłowski that that the actual alignment of this is actually halfway up that black, or the cap on the black cap on the other jar, but it appears that it's over when it's not, just down to angular size change.
Yeah, but the thing is with Jesse's observations is that both the theodolites that you have set up, they're a known height above sea level at each point, and when we're talking about the globe, whether you guys accept it or not, level is the curve of the Earth. So if we say that at 2 points on the globe, something is 3 meters above the surface of that globe, they are both level with each other. even though they wouldn't be on a flat plane. And that's the point of what he had. Both his theodolites were set, he knew exactly how high they were above sea level, and he knew exactly what the angles between the bit looking out and the floor were. And even though both the angles were exactly 90 degrees, and both of them were exactly level based on known distances above sea level, one of them still appeared to drop below, which wouldn't happen if everything was perfectly level and the surface was flat.
Well, this floor, like my argument there would be, this floor is far more level than the curve of the globe Earth would be.
You see,
Yes, it's showing it.
that's a misunderstanding of the word level, because for when we talk about level, we literally mean the curve of the Earth.
I know.
Yeah. So
Go on, sir.
if you're, I think when you reference level, we need to use the word flat, because you're talking about a tangential plane, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about a horizontal plane.
Yeah. Which isn't
Yeah.
necessarily level. And
Well,
if we can just agree on some
that's what I
basic
would term
terminology.
level.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it can be one of the meanings of level. But when we're talking about, surfaces and Earth, level, the reference needs to mean the curve of the Earth. And flat needs to mean a tangential plane. So that we can even have a basic conversation, we need to agree on those basic terms.
Yeah, but I can't agree, Craig. I don't share my screen there for a moment, in case you want to screen. I will never agree that level is the curve of the globe, Earth.
I mean, you don't have
agree
to agree
that.
that it is, but you have to agree that the definition in common usage is that.
Well,
Right?
we can put in definitions now. I just put a definition on screen here. Level definition.
I'd hate to say it, but that phone is not level.
It's not level. I noticed that too.
Because if that's an accurate level, spirit level, that is not level.
No.
He hasn't even. I mean, that photograph of the vertical edge with the spirit bubble in it. He hasn't even photographed it square, has he? I mean, the point of putting the rings all the way around the tube is so that you can look at it square and get everything squared up nicely.
Yeah, which he hasn't.
Even the bottom left-hand corner picture of it looks like maybe the phone. The phone doesn't even look square to the bit of wood or whatever it is that's in front of it.
And what's actually holding the phone in place? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, I can't remember what he's using now.
Because that amount of degrees that he's got there on the level that's not showing level would show up a lot when you're looking at it across the table, say, for example, at something in the distance to get a level out of it. No, you'd be out by heaps by that amount that the level's showing it that's out. By the time what do you call it? There's a word for it when you start from a small point and then work your way out to a bigger point. It'll progressively get more as it goes out further when you're looking. Expand, multiply.
Well, yeah. Anything with an angle in it, the distance between the two halves of the angle always gets bigger the further you go away from it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So if he's out by that much, and you're trying to
from the
line
point, obviously.
Yeah, if you're trying to look at something in a distance, even across the table, like we're looking at, by the look of it, what we're doing, that's going to be out by a heap. I can't think of the amount, but you have to know what measuring. You'd have to do that both ways. You'd have to bring that spirit level back to that line, move it forward to the other line, take a measuring line in the distance somewhere, make a mark, and then get the centre of it, and then that'll be your level point that you're looking out from. That'll be a way of calibrating it.
Now we'll go down to the adjective. This is just the first one from Google. Having a flat horizontal surface.
And that can
At
be
the
one
same
of the
size.
meanings, yeah.
Yeah. You see, it comes down to, like, you're going to view level because you believe in the globe. You're going to view level as level, it means at the same distance from the center of the earth.
Yeah, well, we
That's
kind of
level
have
view.
to if we're trying to determine what something is. If we're trying to determine what the shape is, then we have to agree on common terms. And if we agreed to use the terms level meaning the curve of the earth and flat meaning a tangential plane, then it would just make conversations between globe earthers and flat.
There's an image that I forgot to grab one time where somebody's got a shelf on a wall. The wood's flat, but the shelf's not level.
That's
And
it. The
and
shelf's
you
on the
ask a
pitch,
flat
isn't it?
earther, is the shelf level or flat?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the major misunderstandings. Flat and level are the same thing. And that shelf is a perfect demonstration. Yes, the shelf is flat. It certainly isn't level. I know the picture you're on about.
Yeah, that's right, Colin. Yeah, if you've used a theodolite, you understand the centering points on your marker to work out when you're working out your distances. That always helps you calibrate those things. But obviously, this guy hasn't even used a theodolite by the look of it.
Flat earthers easier, because when surveyors, when they talk about level, they literally mean the curve of the earth. The true level in surveying manuals is defined as the curve of the earth. And I could right now bring up 45 citations to demonstrate that the curve of the earth, when you're talking about the surface of the earth, is level.
Yeah, but
it's just about
is that
agreeing
geodetic surveying?
Well, geodetic surveying is what you'd use for large distances. Plane surveying is interesting because most, say, structures, roadways and stuff, they use plane surveying because plane surveying is over a distance of about 260 kilometers, right? Because due to the size of the Earth, 260 kilometers can be viewed as a flat plane with a deviation of about 0.05 degrees, right? So plane surveyors, they work in the smaller areas, but they still can take the curve of the Earth into account when they use elevation references. However, geodetic surveyors are surveyors that survey larger areas above 260 kilometers, and they have to take the curve of the Earth into account because otherwise they wouldn't be able to measure things properly.
They pre-assume it.
No, they don't assume it because the methods that they use and some of the important things about when they're trying to determine like atmospheric conditions is that they are able to quantify refraction, and they will do it in different times and constantly measure what the temperature of the air is to know what the refractive index is, to know what the light is doing, so that they're able to accurately say what they are seeing based on the leveling of the marker points that they're using is, oh look, well that appears to show a curve, well that must mean that this section of the Earth has a curve. There's no assumptions made, just the measurement that the methods that they use show them that there's a curve there.
The steps that geodetic surveyors take is they start out with that it's a globe. That's the first thing they do.
No, they don't.
They know it's a globe.
Just let me go through the steps. 1 second. They start out with it with the belief that it's a globe.
No, just why do they always throw that in the presumption of something before you do a measurement or what observation, that you presume something. They always seem to throw that in.
Let's face it. Yeah, Terry. Let's face it. Most geodetic surveyors are working at a time where it is taken to be established fact that the Earth is a globe. Therefore, their procedures are going to take that into account, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, but they don't have it in their mind that it's a globe in their mind to think, oh, this is a globe, and when I'm measuring it, it's just they do the measurements with the calculations that they do, and that's all taken into account.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, the way you're going to do the measurements is such that you end up, yes, you're taking measurements. The methods you use to take the measurements are kind of presupposing that it is a sphere because other information has already given you the fact that it is a sphere.
Yeah. You can imagine what would happen if they did the measurement without that calculation in it, that it's not a sphere. What would happen?
Well, the thing is that they would realise that they would, if you started off doing it as if you were on a plane, you would very quickly realise that you're getting errors and take appropriate action.
But something to share, Terry, that might help with this geodesic business, if you can.
Yeah. Go for it. All I've got to do is click a few things for you. There you go.
No worries. I'll pick what I can here. Okay, can you see that?
Don't pick the wrong folder. Oh, okay, that one's okay.
No. Can you see that picture?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's called a geodesic dome. Okay. What makes it a geodesic dome is that it's made of flat triangles. Each one of those triangles is a flat triangle, and they're put together in such a way that they make a curved surface, a dome. Okay. And this is sort of similar to what surveyors do, geodesic surveyors do. What you can imagine what geodesic surveyors would be doing would be standing at the conjunctions of all those pieces of metal, sighting along to another conjunction and measuring the angles to those conjunctions. And by putting all those angles together, they can map out the surface of the dome. Okay, so all of those sightings are a straight sighting, but when you put all the angles together and combine them all and plot them out, you get the curved surface. And that's what geodesic surveyors or geodetic surveyors do. They make triangles like this. They survey triangles over large distances. And when they plot all those measurements out, they make a curved surface, and they can actually measure the radius of the Earth by doing that.
Isn't there supposed to be some markers? I heard of over in America, they've got actually geodesic survey points mapped out on the ground.
Every country has those, Terry. Every country, even Australia.
Okay.
Yeah. In the UK, they're called trig points, and they're usually on a concrete pillar that are really, really easy to spot. I mean, thanks to the Ordnance Survey, they built those points on tops of all the big hills all around the UK.
Yes.
So that they could carry out a proper survey of the UK, and they did it they did that with the trig point, the concrete post trig points in the 30s, I think it was, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, but any decent size hill. I mean, they're all clearly identified on the Ordnance Survey maps, and when you go up there, there is this pillar with a metal plate set in the top, and that is the triangulation point, the trig point. It'll tell you the height and everything.
What do they physically use to measure?
Not every hill's got them.
What do they physically use to measure from each point?
They don't. A theodolite. You don't actually. Well, no. You have to measure out your original baseline, and they do that with chains. Literally.
Oh yeah.
Steel chains.
Yes. My dad's got one, and me and my brother surveyed all of his fields using a bloody chain. Took 2 days.
Yeah. But Yeah, that's the only thing you have to do. You have to accurately measure your starting baseline that you get your first set of angles. That you use to get your first sets of angles, and then everything else you can just do off of the angles and the trigonometry.
We're going to have to point out the non-sec in the peanut gallery for Bandy. Don't treat him too harshly. He can't help it.
It's not his fault.
Yeah, we like Bandy. We
Just keep playing with him. He'll come out with more stuff for you to debunk. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Where were we? Hope this doesn't go for too much longer than just this bit.
Then they turn that into global ellipsoid and global geoid. Then they turn the global ellipsoid and global geoids into more localized ellipsoids and geoids of a continent or whatever. And then they turn it into more local again. They keep localizing the ellipsoids and geoids down to a country level. And then they turn everything into Cartesian reference systems, which are flat and motionless planes. But that's what they do. Their last step is to turn everything into a Cartesian reference system.
Well, that's for when you're like trying to make maps and stuff. That's different. But they measure the curve of the Earth. That's what their measurements show. There is no assumptions when they're actually doing the measurements. Like if we look at the massive surveying operations, like the Meridional Arc of the Indias or the American Arc of the Parallel, they didn't make any assumptions. They just made measurements, and when they put all the big measurements that they had together, it formed a sphere. And it's not just them that did it. Every single one of these surveying teams that did that around the world from 1700 onwards all measured that the Earth has a radius of approximately 3,950 miles, depending on where you are.
Okay. In the 11th century, Al-Biruni went to the top of a high mountain in Nandana, which is present-day Pakistan. And he used an astrolabe to take a dip measurement to an horizon. And from this, he calculated the globe's 3,959 mile radius. Now, the problem with that is that how did he know which horizon was the physical geometric horizon of a globe? When we are told we never see that, and we are told that we always see horizontal and flat. The horizon is never in one place, it's always moving its position. Within an hour it can move its position. And I've watched it move its position.
The horizon moves its position. Yeah, if you move, the horizon's always there.
And you notice that he's making the assumption that Al-Biruni was actually correct. Like Al-Biruni was basically like he got it reasonable, but he wasn't by any means correct. It was an estimate.
And let's face it, if you go up nice and high and then look down at the horizon, you are going to get far less of the refraction effects that cause the horizon to appear to be further away, because you're looking at a different angle through the air most of the time.
One of the reasons why flat earthers don't do observations up high, because it gets rid of an awful lot of doubt and uncertainty.
You mean like Travis?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think they all form as low as possible to the surface of the water? Because that's where the maximum amount of distortion happens.
It makes good photographs.
That makes a crap photograph.
Oh, what you mean, like a certain bit of video I did that I made the other morning, Terry. Let me find it and get it set up, and then
you want Exhibit A? Okay. Okay, here we go. There you go. You can have Exhibit A. Now, to me, the Black Swan one is probably the most best evidence of whether they got the good picture of the horizon with the rigs in the distance without any refraction, without any atmospheric disturbance at all.
Yep.
There we go.
But they use the crappy one.
Yeah, well, of course it do.
What happens when you have a really heavy ether band relatively low over the water?
Oh, did you see that? The sun went smaller and bigger all in one shot.
Yeah, it's getting huge.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger again. We should make its mind up what size it is.
Well, it did. For a brief moment there, we saw the actual size of the sun.
Yeah.
We did indeed. And the reflection was the same size as well, wasn't it? You notice?
Yeah, funny that. Always gets me. And a lot of this stuff that these guys film, you see the lens flare, and the lens flare shows you the actual size of the sun.
Yeah. The side bits in the lens, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That's a nice example of just what being close to the surface can do for you, especially when there's any sort of interesting atmosphere between you and the sun.
No, I find that strange that these flurfers can carry on for half an hour about what they think they're trying to talk about, and then we can just all of a sudden click your fingers and go, here, is this what you mean?
Well, you see, we're not looking for confirmation bias. They are.
Yeah. I mean, that one actually isn't a particularly good example of sunrise showing that, to show that the Earth is indeed a sphere. Some of the other ones I've got are better for that. But I just really like that because I think it's a cool effect, the way the mist is winding the sun about.
Yeah, affecting the sun, yeah. More dirt.
Position within an hour.
Further
so
up
if he had waited an hour, he would have got a different calculation.
You started with explaining that he went up a high hill. And when you go up a high area, you remove a lot of the refractive conditions. The reason is because you change the lapse rate. And the lapse rate is the change in temperature over a distance. So say the first meter above the water, right? The temperature change in that meter is going to be a lot greater as a reference compared to the distance than if you took 500 meters, right? The actual ratio of change is going to be less the higher up you go, which means you get less of a lapse rate, which means the refractive conditions are less. So going up a lot higher is a great way to actually be able to see as close as possible to the geometric horizon.
Okay, but there's two problems there with what you're saying. Number one is the lapse rate. That's more to do with optics. For the globe, you have to have 7/6 R, as that is the refraction that goes along with the curve.
That's been quantified,
goes along with the calculation, right? The other problem is, how did Al-Biruni know which horizon was correct? Because no matter how high you go,
which horizon? He can only see one horizon. So he
went
on the horizon that he could see. And because of the fact that he was up a lot higher, meaning there was less refractive conditions, means that he was pretty much seeing the geometric horizon. Yeah, it probably wasn't exactly 100% accurate because there is always going to be some refractive conditions. But because he was up a lot higher, meaning the lapse rate was different, meaning there was less overall refractive conditions, meaning that he had a better idea of what the geometric horizon was. What he was looking at was a distorted view of the horizon, but it was probably extremely close to the actual horizon because of the height that he was.
But if I'm on the top of a mountain and the weather is bad, then I'll have a different angle to an horizon than I will then if the weather is clear. So how did he know which day and which time was correct?
See, are you talking about like literal, bad weather blocking the horizon? That's
not blocking the horizon.
The refractive conditions.
It's not bad or good weather. It's just changing weather conditions will give you a different horizon. No matter how high you go. I mean, I have been up on the top of mountains and I've seen horizons when the weather was more suitable for it. I've seen horizons at massive distances, and I could be up at the top of the same mountain when the weather is not so suitable and the horizon is far more close. So how did he know if no one ever, we're told we never see the geometric horizon. We can't see the geometric horizon. We always see a horizontal. This is what we're told. Flat earthers are told this all the time. So how did he know when he saw this particular horizon, because there's only one horizon, how did he know, that's the radius, the one that'll be perfect for the radius? How did he know that?
Well, to be honest, Brian, it's in the 1100s. I don't know the exact reasons why he was doing the measurements or what the weather was like on the day or anything around it. But what's interesting is that he managed to get a radius which was very close to what we say it is now. And when we do measurements now, we get that same radius. Why is it that we always get the same thing?
Well, I would say it's down to pre-assumption. If you want to, we can go through how the geodetic surveyors go about calculating it. If you want, we can go through that. I don't mind, because I mean, when it comes to Al-Biruni, you can't prove what he did. As in, you can't. I'm asking you, how did he know this and that? You can't divine his thoughts. So
no,
I'm asking the question, but I know you can't answer.
That is, my knowledge of surveying isn't one of my strong points yet. I'm still studying in specific methods. Rumpus has said that I said something wrong even in this stream, and if I am wrong about certain things about surveying, then I want to be corrected. So let me do some more studying on actual surveying methods, and then we can go over some of the actual calculations. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine by me. I've been looking into surveying too, so that's fine by me.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
So,
I can come back another time for that.
The other thing was, Brian, about the Coriolis. Right.
Yeah.
And
do you want to go through the pictures I have of the centre frame thing, or we just?
Let's do that if you want to now.
I don't mind. Yeah. I'm just going to share these just to finish off that part. What I was saying, Craig.
Where's the screen going? Give me 1 sec to get the screen up.
No worries.
Rumpus, you've got my email. Maybe send me an email with corrections to anything that I've said. Oh God, why have I lost that screen? I think I might have shut. Oh no, there it is. Okay. Oh, come on. Right, you're up.
Okay. First thing I'll have to show, let me see, will be my video of this. 1 second, Craig. Video.
I must say, Brian, you're a lot calmer than you've been before. The conversation's actually managing to happen.
Yeah, well, look, if I'm dealing with a situation where it's kind of like, let's be honest, on your show, it's kind of like, it is kind of like attack and attack. A lot of the time. And I've heard it, that's the way it's been. And there, last week I had Team Skeptic there as well. So it was like I was coming in on the defensive. You understand what I mean? So I can deal with either way. I can go relaxed or I can go, whichever. I can do it. This is just to show the leveling. It won't be level on the table left to right, but it'll be level forward and back. This is just to show my leveling on the table, forward to back, just before I show those photographs. So it's 0.1, 0.0 to 0.1, 1.0.2. And there's the jars. And that's just, I'm just going to show with the with the. I think I show it here now with the. Or maybe I don't show it. Oh, no, I show it in the photographs with that laser level. That.
Does Brian even realise what he's using to do what he's doing and how it works? For any of his arguments against anything?
You mean the MEMS accelerometers inside his phone that he's using for doing the levelling?
Exactly.
The MEMS accelerometers that require this thing called gravity, and presuppose that it's actually a globe in the software in the phone.
Exactly. Okay. I just thought that was strange.
Okay, that's all I need to show because the basic. I'm tilting my phone back there. That's why it's gone to 0.7.
Yeah.
Just to show that it was level, right? So this is when the phone is level, right, and the center frame when the phone is being made level as 0.1 to 0.2, around 0.1. That's as level as I could make the phone on the table. So I'm just going to go down. These are gyro olives up next to the camera, and I pull it back. I pull it back, and I keep going. And this is just showing a difference in angular size change, and that it doesn't really matter. It's not something we haven't seen before. But this part is important. The red dot, I show it in the pictures in a second, that was lower and it raises up because there's an incline in this table towards the back. So when I have the camera, my phone in portrait, I just have it in portrait mode. It was easier to get more level that way. When I have it in as level as it can be, because it's level and the table has an incline towards the back, it's not perpendicular with the table. So if I go down to here, that yellow line is where my actual lens is. So by leveling my camera, it brought my center of my lens down. So that yellow line is actually because on iPhone 5, the camera lens is just over 4.5 inches high, and that's just over halfway up that this second tile here. So that's actually my center frame right there, or that is actually where my camera lens is, I should say, right there on that yellow line. But because it's not perpendicular, it's not at a right angle to the table anymore, because I had to level it. So because I had to level it forward, it's not at a right angle to the table. So consequently, that brings the center frame down. So that was going against me because as soon as I leveled it, that was a problem because the table's not level, so it's not.
Is he saying that his table goes up about 4 inches?
I don't think it's that much, but I think it's not. I think the problem is his table is. It's not that his table's not level. It's that his table's not bloody flat.
Yeah.
And let's face it. There's not going to be a lot. There's not going to be a big difference in the angle, is there, from one side of the table to the other in regards to the radius of the Earth?
I don't know about you guys, but because it's such a small screen inside a small screen inside a small screen, to see what he's actually doing, yeah, I can't see. No, I got no idea.
Yeah, it's tricky.
It sounds like he's making excuses already for what he's about to show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did he show that his table's not flat, or did he show that his table's not level? He hadn't actually showed that.
No,
I don't know.
He just makes, like all flat earthers, he just makes assertions about that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. The drop over 1 meter is 72 nanometers.
Yeah.
Would
the
also
curvature of the Earth.
But also, he's not making the excuse that the table's coming up because his camera's pointing down. When we looked at the spirit level, that actually showed that his camera's pointing down.
Yeah.
That's the bit that struck me. He's saying.
Right at a right angle. It's not perpendicular. So there was no point in me showing you the same as I showed you last week, as it was just going to be the same as I showed you, and you can have the same argument saying, well, it's not level. So what was the point in showing you that? But just to show, I think I have. Oh no, that's all of those photographs. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was just going to show you
Okay.
the table being inclined, but I can show you that if you want to see it anyway. But that's what I wanted to show. Just that as soon as I leveled my camera, that it brought the center frame down low as opposed to 4.5 inches is where it should be.
Yeah,
You know
which,
what I mean?
like you said, kind of goes against what you were saying, right?
He doesn't know how to do experiments.
I still want to know how he's keeping the camera still while he's taking the pictures.
Yeah, I know. It just seemed to be just balanced on the table.
What's he? What? Yeah, I'm going to say, what's he got the camera mounted in to keep it solid? You know, to keep it all solid and pointing in the right direction.
You don't actually see him doing any of that. He looks like he's edited those bits out of how when he touches the camera.
Just remember, you can get a tripod adapter for a mobile phone for £1 in the UK. And that comes with either a little mini table tripod or a bloody selfie stick. For the £1. And they're bloody useful because you can fix your phone to all sorts of stuff.
I think that's about the only stuff that's actually presented. The rest is just talk. Yeah. Him presenting the camera thing again, which doesn't show anything. Oh. Right, okay. Well, I'm going to have to look for... we did... The carpentry we did last week was just the general introduction to carpentry. So we can break it down in its different categories, and I was thinking we might do how they joined timber together. Now we know that they joined timber together in various ways early on in history, where they used just a peg, something similar, to join the timbers together. In boat building, they did similar. But in houses, yeah, they did some with their houses or huts or whatever they are that they built. So how far back do we go? And do we go back to the Iron Age when they started making nails, which is just hand forged? Each nail took about, what, 20 minutes or something to make one nail or whatever it was?
No, the Romans loved iron nails for their boat building.
Well, we used that in boat building until quite late.
Oh yeah, no, I just happen to know that the Romans were very big with their iron nails because they found some shipyards somewhere. Was it down in Kent? They dug, and they just found bits of nails and signs of forges everywhere.
Mm.
That was another one I saw on Time Team.
Good old Time Team.
Yeah, the old Time Team. That's it.
Bloody brilliant programs they were.
Oop, I went to Google that word again.
You didn't Google nailed, did you?
Yes.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to be a bit more elaborate with the wording.
Bloody good job we're not doing screws then.
Well, we are going to be doing screws, so
be very careful when you do that.
I'm going to have to definitely be. Do we go to Wiki
Good
or
old
do we
Joseph
go...
Whitworth.
In fact, you might want to go incognito.
Yeah. No, we'll get into Whitworth and AF and metric and all that sort of stuff.
No. Well, but Whitworth was the first person to standardise to figure out a way to cut standardised screw threads, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was.
On an industrial scale.
Well, I don't know that yet. That's not in my program for a while yet till we get up to him. That's a bit more modern for me.
Yeah.
What can we do about nails? It's something to represent nails. Okay, well, we go through Wikipedia, or do we got for Wikipedia? Use that as a starting block and see where we can end up from there. Better be able to see all the words to that side. Can't tell. I hate they're having a big border on one side, and they put the words right up close. That side. I'm using the full screen version. Scene.
Don't know.
So we've got the history starts off as just hand wrought, which is just wrought iron pounded. So the first nails were made of wrought iron. Nails date back at least to ancient Egypt. Bronze nails found in Egypt have been dated 3400 BC. The Bible the Bible? What? I don't know. Might be some historical evidence there somewhere. The Bible provides a number of references to nails, according to the story of Judge and Jael and the wife Hebu, who drives a nail or tent peg into a temple of a sleeping Canaanite commander. Provision of iron for nails by King David for what would become Solomon's temple, and in connection with the crucifixion of Christ. The Romans made extensive use of nails. The Roman army, for example, left behind 7 tons. That's a lot of nails when it excavated the fortress of Inchiquil.
In Scotland.
Yeah, somewhere in. Yeah, okay.
Perthshire.
The north bank of the River Tace, southwest of Blaungary,
Blairgowrie.
Yeah, in 86 to 87 Common Era. Oh, okay. The term penny, as it refers to nails, probably originated in medieval England to describe the price of 100 nails. Nails themselves were sufficiently valuable and standardized to be used as an informal medium of exchange. We're jumping ahead to around up to 1800. I'm going to try to stick back. Well, we got the sitting mill introduced in England in 1590, simplified the production of nail rods. The first real efforts to merchandise the nail making process began. The process itself occurred between 17 and 1800, initially in the United States and in England. Okay. So we can't really go back any further. We seem to be jumping ahead to 17th, 18th.
Well, I think the thing is that nails were made in the traditional way by artisans for several thousand years without much in the way of change, until you get to like 1590, when the first real mechanization with, I'm guessing, water mill powered machines used to cut the metal.
Going with the wire nails. Minus the hand wrought. Well, the hand wrought was the main ones.
Yeah. it's weird when we think about it, because we're so used to how fast stuff develops. But things like nails, they worked, and the technology to improve the way they were made didn't get invented until we'd been using nails for a couple of thousand years at least.
And I suppose on the other side of the coin thing then is the hammer itself, basically being the same principle of what a hammer does to hammer the nail in. Without them, they go together.
Yeah, well, I think the hammer actually rather somewhat predates the nail.
Yes.
Again, probably by about, I don't know, 7 or 8,000 years at least.
And I can honestly tell you that the square one is older than the round one. Oh, there's a hammer.
Is it the hammer of the gods? Oh, yeah.
That's a couple of big nails on that bloke's hand, weren't they?
Yeah, I was looking there, that one.
No, not that one. I was thinking there was...
Where was I? Yeah, that one.
Up, you gone past it?
Up.
Oh, yeah.
There.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing you use making ships, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's what am I watching at the moment? Cooper's Treasure, and they're diving in the Bahamas, and they're trying to find these old shipwrecks, and they can tell what age they are by the ship's nails that they're pulling up, and obviously they're pulling up something that's been slowly rusting away for 200 or 300 years, but they're that sort of size, and that's the sort of nails they needed for putting ship's timbers together.
For something that size, you could nearly use it as a weapon, couldn't you?
Damn near it, yeah. But they're diving on wrecks that are like 300 years old, and they're finding rusty ship's nails like that. And I mean, at the time, when they're sort of just pulling it out of the hand, it's a job to tell that it's a nail. But their metal detectors are saying, yes, there's something metal here, and they're pulling these things out, and they're that sort of size. It's, oh, look, it's a ship's nail. Bloody great thing. Well, that's the sort of size. When you think how thick the timbers on the side of these ships were, you need a deep sized nail to hold the damn thing on.
And the size of the frames.
Exactly, yeah. It's all big stuff. Oh, come on.
We can find...
Oh, we've got Cat again, have we?
Hello, Squeak. Yes. There you go. Yeah. Yes, you're on the internet.
I'll put nails. Shipbuilding. But they didn't just use nails to start with. The way they built them.
I think it depends on which society's ships you look at, on how they were built. Because some societies didn't use metal nails in shipbuilding.
No.
They just everything was wooden framed and like I say essentially wooden nails, because they just used wooden dowel pins to secure the joints.
Mm.
Find one or the other. Dowel didn't help. I put dowel in for all I guess the normal size dowel. Building. Steel
course,
bolts
anything
and
to serve as a hammer.
frames. Modern stuff there. I have to look up ancient shipbuilding techniques then, I suppose. That'd probably be more.
Yeah, well, that covers a lot of old carpentry
Ancient-
techniques in itself,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
ancient shipbuilding techniques. See if we can get something there.
Right, my headache's getting bad, so I will wish you gentlemen adieu and catch you all later. I think I'm going to put my jacket on and go and have a little bimble around the village for half an hour in the chair
Fair
to
enough.
get some air because
Yep.
it's really nice out there this morning.
It is.
And of course, I've got to be back for 3 o'clock to get somebody's bloody delivery, haven't I?
No, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Since somebody mailed it to
Or
the
my
wrong
name
address.
will be, or my name will be Mud.
What? Even more than it already is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and not Harry.
yeah.
Harry, yeah. Oh, bugger. All right, see you later, guys.
All right,
Later.
mate, see you later.
Enjoy the rest. Enjoy the
Yeah.
rest of the stream.
Images, but it looks a bit.
Right, come on, Squeak. You'll have to log in and fill in for no, too late.
Showing tools and some. Can't tell what they are. I have to get another picture.
Cool. No,
Fine.
easy.
Too small an image. Listing of shipbuilding tools in the age of sail.
Sharp bits, pointy bits.
Wooden replica of Zhang
Zheng
ship
that sounds a
to
bit
navigate
golden.
ancient route in. That was put together. Showing anything for that? No, one image.
Yeah, that's it.
Supposed to make a maiden voyage in 2014. Out on that one. Seeing a lot of ships, but not so much the. That one you can see if they're dowels or what they've used to tie the rib support to the bottom there.
Well, it calls it a sewn boat, so yeah, that would imply they've used rope or cord or of some such to sew it together. Oh, there's a description at the top.
The sewn boat's type wooden boat, which is a clinker-built plank sewn, stitched, tied, or bound together with tendons or flexible wood, such as roots and willow branches. Sewn boat construction techniques were used in many parts of the world prior to the development of metal fasteners, and continued to be long used after that time for small boats to reduce construction costs where metal fasteners were too expensive. Got a year. Stone boats were widespread throughout Asia and have predated marine boat building. The earliest known example of sewn boat is to be a 40-plus metre long funerary boat on show near the Giza Pyramid in Egypt, dates back to 26 BC. Stone construction was a natural step where coming from raft or reed building, which dates from thousands of years before that, and in other parts of the world. The oldest stone craft comes from North Araby, where one example called F2 carbon dated BC, 1930, 1750 BC. Later finds include some early Greek ships. The oldest Nordic find is the, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, boat in Denmark.
Short spring.
Okay. In circa 300 BC in Finland, Russia, Karelia and Estonia. Small sewn boats have been constructed with more recently up until the 1920s in poor areas of Russia. Oh, sorry, non-sec. Alan culled all the spanners. He only handed out a handful.
Don't worry, mate. You'll be all right.
Samples
Maybe.
of sewn boats. What do we got here? Ones that are on exhibit by the look of it somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, just an image. And some references. Okay. I was trying to get a good image. Oh, that's a bit better. Better?
Oh yeah. Look,
Can we all
you
see
can
that?
see it's all sewn together.
Yeah, how it's sewn the rib across to there. Wow.
In fact, if you look, you can see everything's sort of sewn and stitched in. Huh?
Oh, little tiny stitches.
Looks like it.
All sewn together.
Hmm.
Wow. So would the rope rot before the wood, or the wood rot before the...
Presumed it'd be the rope first, wouldn't it? I would have thought. Don't know.
That's an example of doweling. Already seen that one.
Who's nodding off?
No, it just
Wasn't me.
had a bit of a snort.
Ah, I thought somebody was starting to snore.
No, it sounded like a snore, but it wasn't a snore.
Oh, that's all right. It wouldn't be the first time I've had people nod off.
No.
Oh dear.
That's a few examples of that. Now we just need to see any examples of some nailing type. Because I've got ancient building techniques, but only showing it that way. Not showing the nailing part.
Nail them up, I say.
Also using metal nails. Let's see if we get something that way. Metal nails. That way. Don't show any decent pictures, do we? We only just the whole ship. History of nail making. Oh, we've got a bit of a picture there, but that's just showing some nails left over.
Yeah.
I know they have used nails in shipbuilding. If this is the one, it might be an example. Where they put like a washer on it, and then they pound the end of the nail over.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them do something similar to that. Makes it extra tight. watching a video, which we can't do. Yeah, I think that might have been one.
Oh, right, so they put the...
I just show a video or something similar to that. Use that. Counted the end over. Cure it. Experimental archaeology. Boat they found.
Hmm.
In 1880, oh, 19, oh, I can't read it, my eyes. 1993.
The remains of a wooden boat were uncovered during drainage works north of the village of Gislinge on the island of, whatever, in Denmark.
Yeah, in Denmark.
Now reclaimed agricultural land. The area had once been part of the shallow Lammerfjord, itself connected to the ice fjord and the open sea. The boat was remarkably well preserved, and initial features such as the stepped stem and overlapping planking suggested it may have been Viking era in date. Later analysis proved the excavator's first impressions were reasonably accurate. Put your teeth in straight. The find was dendrochronologically dated. Oh, good old dendrochronology.
Yep.
Dated to circa AD 1130.
Wow.
Making it the first significant Danish find of a smaller vessel from the early Middle Ages. Yeah, I mean that's presumably that had been buried in the right type of mud.
Yep.
That stopped the wood from rotting away. But yeah, hands up all those people who only know what dendrochronology is from watching Time Team. My hand is in the air.
Isn't it something to do with tree rings?
Correct. Yes, I think they basically core drill out samples of the wood, and they can compare that to previous samples, and they can date the wood. And that's what dendrochronology means, because the dendro, I think, is the tree part, and obviously chronology is the time. Because I know on Time Team they used to get that quite a lot. If they found an old building with old wooden beams in, they'd get the dendrochronologists in, and they'd drill out little samples and then take it away and work out how old the wood was.
Dora's mentioning about the temples and shrines and the wooden beams they built without nails and almost invisible seams. That was something we looked at last week, Dora. We showed somebody putting it together. I've just seen an image back there further of that. I'd have to go back in my page, but I didn't keep that.
Oh, because yes, they had some very clever joining methods.
Yeah, the one we showed. We just noticed it there in one of the images. I noticed when we scrolled past it. Oh, that's that joint. I didn't keep the tab open to show that, unless it's in. I don't think it was in this one. I did see it. Here's some other joinery things too. Now they had an image here of in one of the tabs that I had opened. Scroll down this far though. It was the same image as the one we looked at the other day.
Hmm.
But back to the boat, which is the Gisling boat was a 7.7 metre long boat, mostly likely used for fishing. used for around the coastal settlements. Don't know why it met its end, why it was sunk. Yeah, we don't know why it would have been sunk. We haven't found out about those things. The bottom of the fjord, but it seemed better days and displayed signs of many years of hard service. Several cracks in the hull had been patched using pieces of beach, yet despite the high level of wear and tear, the Gisling boat had once been a top quality vessel, built entirely of oak, with decorative profiles on many of its timbers. It was most likely a working boat in a larger fleet belonging to a local chieftain or landowner. The boat was constructed in full scale at the Viking Ship Museum in Roskilde in 1995. The construction was I'll get the word out in a minute. Subsequently sold to the National Maritime Museum in Busan, Republic of Korea. Wow. Why'd they end up with it? Jeez. 20 years later, the decision was made to build a second reconstruction of the Gisling boat, using the same reconstruction model and working drawings that had been produced for the first version. This time, however, the project would have an added dimension, one that they would seek to involve the public in the construction of the boat, while at the same time addressing the power and potential which the online world has in terms of communicating experimental archaeology. That would have been interesting. I'd like to see someone do stuff like that, but they don't do it over here.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I suppose you just don't have that sort of thing over there, do you?
No, not that type of history. We don't. No.
No.
Like Captain Cook's boats from that time period on, and I don't think many of them. Well, when they come here, if they all went back again. Oops, I'll be back in a sec.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah.
I better change batteries. I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss?
Cool. Nothing.
Oh.
Absolutely.
I was hoping I might have missed something.
Well, I thought it's not going to take them long to change the batteries over.
No, it didn't take that long. Okay, well, I'm not getting anywhere with the metal nail boat stuff. All I'm getting is pictures of boats. I'd love to be able to watch videos of this stuff. So cool to watch all this.
It's just not worth the risk at the moment, is it?
No.
The Sod's Law clearly states you'll think you'll find something that's perfectly innocent, and then somebody goes,
Half of these images are hard to work out. Oops, we're not sharing, am I? Sorry. I'd like to share what I'm seeing. There's New Jersey scuba diving. What am I doing? Boat construction. Salvage, Road of Mary. Definitely not going to get into the boat building processes like the Titanic or anything just yet. That's a little bit too...
rivets. Millions and millions of rivets.
Rivets.
Yeah.
And more rivets.
Oh yes. Yes, that's how all of those ships were built at that time. It was all riveted construction.
Okay, we've got Viking ship construction, but I don't think it's going to get a lot of detail. Plans can't really, doesn't really help us out with a lot of the detail.
Not really, does it?
That doesn't. Detail is everything.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's that picture.
That's,
That-
oh
that-
yes, so
that
yeah,
was,
that's one we looked at the other day, wasn't it? Was trying to figure out how it all
Yeah, who
held
was
together,
it?
and then another photo
Yeah,
showed it.
Dor,
From
yeah,
the,
Dor was saying about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what we looked at. Was that Wednesday's show?
Quite possibly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was clever though. Made a nice solid joint.
Yeah, looked like a lot of work went into it though.
Yeah. Nice precision carpentry that is. Well, that's what I'm like at the men's shed. I'm helping some blokes out that are doing some carpentry stuff, and I like to use the thicknesser and the jointer and everything, and all the precision tools and everything. The bloke just rips it up on the table saw, the drop saw, takes it over on the table and whacks it all together. And, okay. I'll let him go. Yeah, well, it's the older blokes, they're all pushing 70s and 80s, like late 80s, some of them.
Yeah.
And they just like to have something to do, to make something. Sometimes they just make things for home, for generic things. We do get jobs that come in from outside, people request for certain things. Like I'd like to do anything to get myself away from doing the bird traps for the minor birds. I started doing. I'll stop sharing. I might have a picture of it. Find it. Do have a picture. What I was doing. Seeing it's carpentry related.
Yeah.
Bear with me while I Google me now my. No idea. It's like all my pictures, like I've said.
They're all very carefully and neatly filed away in the correct folder.
Well, you just shove them all on top of one another and then close the drawer and then don't know which drawer they're in that pile or that pile.
Yeah, that's how it works.
But not like I'm down the shed, because if I go down the shed, I know where everything is down there. You say you want a certain type screw, I can walk up to the thing and open the drawer out. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I've got no idea where I would have kept that picture. What it is anyway, it's just a little toy wooden plane. And I had to copy it, clone it, because we had one that came in, little toy plane, and it had to be repaired. So in repairing it, I had to also clone it, because we thought we could make money out of selling them. So I made up, I think my first batch, I made up 6 of them, prototypes, you may as well say, and give them a bit of a lacquer. Had a working propeller with the pitch that actually I got the bloke to cut me the propellers out, and he actually put the pitch on the propellers the wrong way, and I pointed it out to him. So I said, the pitch on these propellers goes the opposite way? He said, well, if you don't tell anyone, I won't. So I just left him like that. They're like a little biplane. Yeah, bugger. I'll probably find it later on after the stream and go, yeah.
Of course.
There's the image. Well, plus I'm not looking at it full screen too, so I don't think it matters if I can open it full screen. I don't think anyone can see what I'm doing. Makes it easier to see. Got so many different folders here. And when I transferred from the old Windows 7 to here, I just put it all into a folder and put it in the hard drive and just left it. I know where they would be, but they're not here. No, the missus usually sends them through to me on the phone through to Facebook, and that's where I hide photos where I just leave them there. I've taken a photo of.
Yeah.
Saved pictures. Saved files. Toy wooden plane. Oh, there you go. It actually had a name. the actual folder had the name. Oh, upside down. That's no good. That's about the best image for now. That's the one I had to copy, but I'll have to get a photo of the ones after I copied them.
Oh yeah.
I changed it a little bit here and there just to make it a bit tidier. A couple of problems I had, like I've got certain screws. I might be using a nail for the propeller, like maybe a decking nail of some sort, maybe for there. I don't know yet because they've got a bigger head, just for the look. Drilling the dowel for your wing spreaders. That was a bit of a thing to work out. The wheels I had to make. I had to get a hold of it. Had to get them to buy me the tool for that to cut them out. I got a bloke to try to make up the motor shroud on the lathe, but he's only a beginner, so he took nearly 2 or 3 weeks to make one. So because he kept making mistakes. So I've had to figure out a different way of cheating for that to how I can manufacture the cop. I think I ended up using another wheel cutter that's a bit bigger, and it seems to suit the look. The other bit I had to change was at the back, where the tail of the fuselage sits on the table. I actually extended that by making a one-piece tail rudder that went through the spine of the fuselage and stuck out the bottom and made the back of it lift up. That was tricky. I had to redesign the cutouts for the rebates for all those, for the ailerons and the tail fin for that. I didn't mind. Even making the bit for the front undercarriage for the front wheels, I had to figure out how to make that and get the round bit to the curved, and the curved bit where the round bit where the bloke sits. I had to figure out how to cut all that out neatly. Yeah, it was all tricky. I don't mind. I've got a few in the cupboard, ready to go for this year. Sell them at Spring into Corrimal.
Well done.
Yeah, well, it gets me away from the bird traps. That was the. Where's that? No, where were we? Oh yeah, back to.
I'll stick to working with plastic, I think.
No, I don't mind. Material's a material to me. It's just once you don't know the intrinsic qualities of each material, of how it goes, whether it be wood, metal, plastic, glass.
Plastic and etched brass, generally, and maybe some resin bits.
I can't use those links, Elmo.
Yeah, I know. I was just doing it for your own personal use there. All right, so watch it in your own time. It's fascinating.
Yeah, but I can't even copy. I can't even copy it. That's the whole bugger of this bloody internal chat shit. You can't put a link in there now.
Yeah, they've really knackered it up, haven't they?
Yeah, they've buggered it right up. If you
use a lot of.
If you want to copy it, put it in You could probably put it in our Renault channel.
I'll put it. Yeah, I'll put it in your other vids in Discord.
No, put it in the
Yeah.
Renault. Put it in the because that's carpentry.
Okay.
They can go in Renaults.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
That's
See, I
good.
use a lot of traditional Japanese woodworking tools in my guitar making and stuff. Yeah.
Well, that is your channel, meant to be, but everyone else seems to be taking over.
Yeah.
No, I see you've put in your front yard stuff and everything in there. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's for everyone to watch and sort of like a record.
Yep.
Okay, I can't really find any more to do with.
See, instrument making, like guitar, like musical instrument making, is a really good woodworking thing. That uses a lot of ancient technologies because there's no nails or anything in those. It's all glue and dovetail joints and stuff.
Oh, and also the wood bending, steam bending
Yeah.
of wood and all that. Oh, I like that.
Yep.
That's interesting. How you can get certain size bits of wood and you can just bend them to a curve. No worries. Just takes a bit of heat.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Oh, we're losing somebody. Is it time for Mippet's bedtime? Yes.
Looks like it.
Well, it's a bit early tonight. That you're about an hour early tonight, Mippet. Anybody in the other peanuts talking about stuff? Andrea said, "Where's all the other panel members?" Well, Peter, what was Peter said he was doing?
Peter was cooking dinner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, Mippet's gone to bed. Elmo's here. Pheasant Plucker's here. Pip, I haven't heard of Pip lately.
I'm here.
The YouTube queen.
I was trying to record, but I kept arsing it up, so I came back.
Oh, don't use up too much battery power.
Oh no, the electric's back on.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're safe.
And I will be getting my computer back this afternoon.
Oh.
And it will turn on this time.
So
Yes.
he has fully tested it now.
Yeah, because I took round my monitor, keyboard, and mouse. Imagine a guy that fixes computers doesn't have.
I find that quite hard to believe.
Yeah. Well,
He's
I
not-
guess,
he-
I mean, he'd have
he's
split
not
up with his wife and gone with it.
Oh, he's not a proper computer repairer then.
Well, he is. He did have a shop for a while, but it
Ah.
wasn't really paying. I think the rent was more than he was making. He's actually a teacher. Gave it up to do that.
The local chap,
That's nice stuff.
he's actually his garage is built into the house, and he's converted the garage into his office come workshop, and it's got proper secure steel, the up and over doors, like the security ones. I mean, it's properly secure, but it was his garage. It's all connected to his house, so he doesn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat working from home, especially that sort of thing.
So it cost me 65 quid altogether.
That's parts and labour, or just labour?
No, that's everything. Parts and labour.
Oh, that sounds quite reasonable, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's a new motherboard and a new power supply.
What? You had to get a new motherboard?
Not bad. Yep.
So the one Mad gave you was no good?
Well, it's no good. It didn't last.
It went poof.
Mad won't be happy.
No, that's not his fault.
It's the luck of the draw, isn't it? I'm afraid.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to the missus' computer tonight. I was in and out of there with the computer that we got built second hand from somebody that did have a computer shop, and now and again I was doing car repairs for him, and I said, "Oh, if you want to do that computer for me, whatever." I think he charged us nearly $200. I thought was a bit rich, but I thought it would be okay. But no, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's just not. It's not working. Not all the diagnosis I've done through with it hasn't helped figure out what's wrong with it. At the moment, I can't even get it to turn on. It just keeps going beep, beep,
It's not a lot of good.
The fan starts up. That's about it.
Yeah, it sounds like what mine was doing, but mine, I never even got a beep.
Yeah, mine's you can hear the hard near where the hard drive, the back of there. Hear it going beep beep. So there's something wrong with it. Don't mind me. I'm just rolling a cigarette sneakingly while people are distracted. I can't use the mouse at the same time as rolling the smoke, unless I use my feet.
I can never figure out how people did that one-handed.
What,
I
the
mean,
mouse?
I used to smoke. No, rolling a fag.
Oh no way in the world I could roll it one-handed.
No, but I knew several people, and most of them were things like, they did things like lorry drivers. Whilst they were driving, they could roll their own cigarette. It's like, how the bloody hell do you do it?
I can roll one with 2 hands.
Yeah, I could roll one with 2. That's easy.
Yeah, that's no worries.
One hand? God, no.
By the time it took me to roll a cigarette, I didn't want it, but that was quite a good thing, actually.
Well, yeah, it's a good way of giving up, I suppose.
I'm cheating. I'm using a little rolly machine.
Yeah, I had one of them, but I've got on better doing it for hand, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm putting a filter in it as well, and
I never use filters. That was all a long time ago, and we just decided when your house is going on the market, you get nagged by your kids. You kind of think, maybe we ought to actually just give up smoking. And I'm not saying it was easy, but we just did it. Just gone from sort of 30 or 40 a day each to nothing.
Yeah, well, I've been giving up smoking for nearly 20 odd years.
I'd say that was a resounding failure then.
I liked smoking. I just couldn't afford it anymore. That's the reason I stopped. I still light a cigarette now and again.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think I was in my mid-20s, and I'd always be smoking the strong ones, the highest milligrams, whatever they are. And there was a young bloke, a few years younger than me, who was just mucking around, and we were running or something. And I'm starting to puff a bit, and he wanted to keep going. And he was built the same as me, like with the same height, same weight, same everything.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I was about 5 or 6 years older than him. But no, if I'm going to be like that, if I'm going to be like this now, and he's younger than me.
I was hearing the UK are getting rid of the menthol cigarettes, menthol flavoured tobacco.
Oh.
Because it's encouraging kids. But not vape liquid.
I could get that vape thing, and you should hear it be.
Well, I vape all the time. You don't hear me.
No.
It's Peter's got the noise one.
It's Peter that does that, yeah. I think he does it right next to the mic.
Yeah, he has done that.
I've just got the normal cheap pencil thing. He's probably got a big tank and.
Oh, those big things, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, the people that do that whilst they're driving, and if I'm following on my motorbike, I know exactly what flavour they're smoking,
Yeah, because all this.
Smell it.
Oh, but you get huge clouds of it come out of the car. They've got the window open. And the number of times I thought, blimey, is he on fire? Oh, no, he's vaping. But it's like turned up to max, and you just get this big cloud of smoke come out the window. And it's like, that's got to be impairing his forward vision. Because
is it technically smoke or steam?
Well,
no, it's vapour. It's vapour, steam. Yeah.
Because, of course, you've got all the various vents on your crash helmet open. I mean, always try and keep the visor down because, well, you only have to see the number of dead bugs on it after I've been out. So, yeah, you've got vents open. And, of course, you just get a real blast or whatever it is they're puffing out. I mean, some of them do smell quite nice, but it's like...
I'm just imagining. You give me a visual image of you with the helmet on, with the shield down, and it fills up with smoke.
The good thing is it doesn't last too long.
No. What is annoying is I keep the visor down so I don't get bugs in my face. Mm. But the very front of the crash helmet, that's where your biggest vent is, and I have that sort of halfway open. and you can still, it's still enough room for little insects to get in. So you can be
Mm.
riding along with the visor down, and all of a sudden there's something buzzing inside with you. It got in through the bloody vent again. But if you close the vent up, you just get too hot inside. I mean, modern crash helmets, they've got vents and things all over the place just to try and keep you cool. They don't work. The only way to keep you cool at speed is to just crack the visor open a little bit and get some fresh air in. But if the air can get in, the bugs can get in. It can be a real distraction sometimes. All of a sudden, something's buzzing around inside. Well, I did once, back when I was, I don't know, I must have been 18, 19. The last time I had a bike on the road. I'd got the visor up, and I was doing a good 60, 70 mile an hour, and I think it was a bee, just went straight in down the side and lodged it in my ear.
Oh.
You have never seen anyone do a controlled stop of a motorbike, take their glasses off and whip their crash helmet off as quickly as I did, because I thought any second now I'm going to get, it was in my ear and buzzing, and I thought I'm going to get stung. I've never moved so bloody fast in all my life. I've got away with it. That was a real moment of panic. I thought, please no, don't stick me in the ear. So yeah, I always try and keep the visor down as much as I can now. It just ain't worth the risk.
Oh shit, we've been going for 2 hours already and we haven't done nothing.
Yeah, we had a fair bit. We had a fair bit of derp at the start, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a little bit of dirt. Did some nails and some stone boats. Wasn't sure about the stone boat. Wonder if I'd seen that before or not. But I know about the rivet boat with the nail. I remember seeing that before somewhere. Andrea said, Carl promised me pancakes, but alas, I don't see him nor pancakes. Oh, okay, Andrea. Dora said, was driving once without gloves and a bee crashed into my hand. It didn't sting me, but it was kind of painful at 50 k's an hour.
Yes, yeah. Oh, it's bad enough when you got your visor down and a bug or something bounces off it, and you, it's like somebody's on the side of the road throwing gravel at you. You know, they really can ping right off. Bloody hell! It's the same as going paintballing. When you get shot on the hand at close range, that can hurt. I mean, I wear gloves with protection on them, but you end up getting shot between your fingers or something. But yeah, even at relatively low speeds, a decent-sized bug. I mean, I had one the other day. Great big yellow smear right across my visors.
I hate it when I'm driving down the road and I just finished cleaning my windscreen that morning to go out, and I drive down the road about half a kilometre in it's usually summertime, wintertime's not that bad, and a bug will splat right in the middle of me driving circle in your windscreen.
Yep.
Oh shit, I just cleaned the bloody windscreen. I could have done it over on the passenger side, because any time it hits the passenger side for the missus, she goes, oh, my windscreen's got a bug on my side, on her side. And I go, no, it doesn't bother me, I can't see it on my side.
Yeah, you ain't looking through that bit. The best one I ever saw, we popped round to see a mate one morning years and years ago, and his dad had got one of the last of the 2.8 Capris, the Ford Capris. And he used to show it. It was concourse standard. I mean, this thing was immaculate. And apparently he'd spent 4 hours cleaning it, polishing it underneath as well. He was that sort of anal about it. This thing was superb. And we were stood there sort of gassing. And he'd done his last little bit of buffing, and he stood back with us. And we all stood there admiring this car. It was a lovely car. And a bird flew over. And it hit the boot, the roof, and the bonnet. I swear he nearly just. I think he died inside at that particular moment because it just went splat, splat, splat. I mean, comedy timing didn't get a look in. I mean, he had literally just stood back, and we all stood there admiring it. Went boom, boom, boom. It really was like something out of a comedy show.
Yeah,
You know?
that's something out of.
We just sort of looked at him and said, "We'll be going." Yeah.
What's that joke? Somebody put a joke there. Oh shit! The chat moves so quickly now I can't read it. Wrote that.
What's the last thing that goes through a bee's mind when it hits the windshield?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
It's ours.
Asshole.
Somebody put it. I missed it now. It was there somewhere.
Red not done.
Yeah, it's not too. Yeah, it's not too far back.
Underneath.
How small have you got the chat?
About that big.
Okay, that big.
You want me to measure it?
No. I'll take your word for it.
Can't be that far back.
Wait, you're looking for the answer?
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I found it. Coward Castle and Fred Knotts. Yeah. It's because everyone's grey now, it's hard to find some things.
Yeah, well, blame Alan for
that. What do you reckon, Peanuts? We chill some videos? That'll bring us up to... We're not going to stream for 5-6 hours. I'll close that. We'll have a look next... what's today? Saturday. Next Wednesday night. We'll see what else we can find about ancient... oh shit, forget that word. Ancient technologies with carpentry. See what else we can find. We'll find out when the screw was first invented. So the first screw.
USA.
That would have been Adam and Eve, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's where the logical inference goes after that.
Yeah, but it was Adam metric and Eve imperial, so...
Well, no, the problem is when they have children, you only have to follow. Yes, you only have to follow it to its logical conclusion.
Okay, guess we'll see what we got. Oh, Bandy put in that grandpa bloke. I've noticed that on some of the recommendations. There's this old Japanese guy does carpentry out in the open.
Oh, yeah, seen some of them.
Yeah.
That video I've put in the Renos, Terry, the guy makes the drawers fit so perfectly that there's a bit of a problem that when you shut one drawer, the other drawer's open.
Oh, because of the air? Because it pushes air through?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee, that's a neat fit. I wouldn't call it a problem.
No.
Yeah,
all the dovetail joints are hidden.
21 minutes of fill.
Oh, I think he's edited and cut down his last video.
Yeah, well, it's down to 21 minutes.
That's a bit better.
Who we got?
I think you'd probably get on better if you worked from a bit of a script.
Yeah. We got... is Andrea out in the peanut gallery?
Yes.
Okay.
Buy your ice cream.
I don't know.
Who's whispering?
Hello, wonderful person. This is Anton,
Oh
and
shit!
this
Oh shit!
Oh, that's blown it.
Run, Andrea, run.
Doesn't Andrea like Anton?
Hello,
Oh,
wonderful Andrew.
yeah, it's just a running gag between her and us about it. Oh, not Anton
Because we play
again.
them every day.
I'll go and polish the silverware. Oh, not Anton again. I'll go and vacuum the bedroom. Oh, not Anton again. I'll go and do something else.
Well, yeah.
We play him every day because he puts content up every day, and it's usually quite good.
Yeah.
Oh, Fred says, walk up to someone and just start whispering. They will whisper back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they will. You like walk along the street and look up, everybody else will look up.
Yeah. Yeah, you look out, stand there looking up. Yeah. Well, there's one I've seen.
But you make everyone look up so you can scratch a bum. That's
the other one I've seen is that they're filming somebody walking down the street or in a building. I don't know where it was, but the person steps over something in a doorway or whatever it is, and everyone else that was following that person did the same thing.
Even though there's
I think if you do it with cats or something, they won't cross because they think there's something there. Sure, I've seen that somewhere as well.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, something like that. I can't, my memory's not that good, but that's the basics of it. We haven't got a lot.
Brainerd says, and in other news, Mind of God is back. Oh, we know.
Oh, we know.
I was so tempted to use my parrot yesterday. I was so tempted. But then Hosey flung him out anyway.
Yeah. Well, Jose tried to get a straight answer out of him, and you'll
Yep.
never get a straight answer out of him, so he kicked him.
Well, I think he told Jose to shut up or something.
That as well, but I think his main issue was, he asked him a perfectly straightforward yes or no question.
Yeah.
And he'll never do that ever. He's one of the worst of answering a question with 10 other questions. Well, it's like mine asking him what the firmament was. Straight away,
Yeah.
he said, "What's the edge of the universe? What's it got to do with the price of bread?"
Yeah.
He's better off staying over at Rantley's. He seems to be loved over there.
Person. Mr. Sensible's found some dirt. Okay, so we've got Anton.
He had a couple up. I think he had a multi-tom-tom one and somebody else as well.
Oh, Tom. He's special.
And Phil just put a new one up as well.
Yeah, that's the cut down version of the one
All right.
the other day.
Okay.
I think he's done an edit.
Scott Manley. Where's the place Scott Manley? If you who else have we got? Dave
Right,
explains.
Good thinking. Well, Terry's hunting.
And entomologist Adrian Smith. Get to know a scientist. Professor Dave. How long does he go for? 4 minutes. Okay, what's that? About ants and animals. Got Creaky. How far back's that? Yeah, we'll play Creaky. Creaky. That's so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, and we'll play that last. Play that one last. I think that's your lot. Going by the look of that. Yeah, I think that's about it. Something here with Bob the Science Guy. I'm sure we watched that. The newer one of Bob. Cavendish experiment stuff. With lots of math. Oh no. That's got too much math in it. That'll do. No, I can't do the voting, Peanuts, because I can't. No, I don't think I'll be able to do it. I'll have a go at it and see what it does if I try it. See if it'll work if I do. I've got a spanner and a lot of blokes haven't. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4. Yeah, 4 will do. Just see how it goes. There you go. Try that, see if that'll work. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hey Stewie, have you got that damn mic yet? Come on, one more vote. Either a 2. How many watching? Out of all of yous. I've got 27 of yous. 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'd say 2 wins. Okay, 2 wins. Stop voting.
We've gone back to voting, have we?
Well, I just thought I'd have a go at it.
Yeah.
See how it'd work. Because there's not many of us that got spanners, so...
Well, it gives them the illusion of choice, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, Carl's got a spanner. Maybe the ones without a spanner should just vote. Makes it easier to count. Someone stole my tool. Oh, sorry, Death.
Yeah, no. Know the feeling.
Alan's not been here the last 3 or 4 episodes to dish them out.
Well.
No, well, he took them away. He did a
Yeah.
culling. Okay, what did we
Everyone's
say?
equal. Just some are more equal than others.
Yeah, I know. We're more special. You got a spanner, Pip?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. No sign of
Only
the
the
mic.
spanners of a spanner.
Irish is saying no sign of the mic or the neighbour. Jeez.
I think the neighbours took the mic.
Well, that's what we're
Delivered
thinking
to their own
because the
plate,
address. Yeah, when it got delivered.
Slap a mask on and go and knock the door.
Okay.
I think we don't get post on a Saturday. I think they stopped Saturday post.
Oh, we still get it.
But you got it? Oh, well.
Yeah, well, we
then.
get post on the Saturday, I think.
Well, somebody had said that they're not doing it. Maybe it's just up here.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought Mad would have been better off doing since it was going to a different country, that it would have had some more of a security type way of getting it delivered so that you could go and sign for it. Or...
Well, your neighbour can still sign for it. Doesn't matter. In fact, no, they don't do sign for it at the moment. They just say what. No, you're supposed to ask what your name is, and then they sign for it.
No, Andrea, the pheasant plucker's son's here. He's not missing.
Yeah, Eden, I thought it was right. She said it's supposed to have been stopped nationwide since last Saturday.
Oh. Right. I'm supposed to get everything every Saturday. That probably explains why it didn't turn up last week. It doesn't seem to have turned up today.
That'll be why.
Well, that's crap. Considering one of their workers almost lives opposite me.
Bring it home with you.
Yeah. Well, they do that with the parcels. Mate, one of them will come around in the morning and deliver all the post. And if I've ordered another model tank kit or something, they tend to be quite large boxes. So what they do is they wait until one of them, whether it's her or one of the others, is knocking off and going home, and then they'll deliver it to me on their way home.
All right.
And I usually know that because if it's something to be signed for, they sign for it on my behalf. I get an email saying that I've signed for it when I haven't even seen it. And then it turns up. It works. The system works if you understand it.
Stewie says he checked the tracking order number, said it was delivered. I saw a package lying outside his door on Wednesday when it was meant to be delivered. Okay. Well, now you just got to front the neighbour.
Yeah.
Go and have a talk to him, inverted commas.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and in this video we're going to be talking about a really scary galaxy we've discovered somewhere out there. This is probably the most fascinating quasar we've ever found, and I'm sure many scientists will be talking about this for many years to come. Let's talk about this and welcome to What the Math. So honestly, I have a somewhat unhealthy fascination with quasars. What is a quasar? Well, you've probably already heard about this term before, but essentially, a quasar is essentially a galaxy. It's a galaxy that has a very, very specific center. The center of this galaxy is what's known as active galactic nuclei, where usually the central black hole becomes somewhat active and starts producing a lot of different radiation, and sometimes these quasars explode in power and start emitting so much radiation that it's visible pretty much from anywhere in the universe. Now technically any galaxy can become a quasar, even possibly Milky Way, and at some point our galaxy may have even been a quasar, as we've seen from some of the signs like this right here, these so-called Fermi bubbles. But in general quasars are sort of scary, simply because of one major thing: what they actually do to the rest of the galaxy when they acquire this status. Essentially, when a galaxy undergoes certain changes, like for example when a galaxy merges with another and a lot of new material is acquired while at the same time a lot of new stars are being produced and the galaxy turns into a starburst galaxy, in some cases this also leads to a production of a quasar, which can also be of different power and obviously different types. Eventually all of this obviously settles and results in something similar to what we have here in the Milky Way, the so-called dormant galaxy. But before a dormant galaxy status is achieved, a lot of crazy things happen. And some of these crazy things are, at least from what we've seen from other galaxies, can be absolutely deadly to any life in this particular galaxy. So the new discovery from this particular paper actually has a title that explains everything. We've discovered the most remarkable and the most powerful quasar we've ever seen. Quasar that's so powerful that it sort of blows our minds, but at the same time, quasar that is possibly a warning to what could one day happen to our own galaxy as well, especially following the event that might start in approximately 4 billion years from now, the merging of two galaxies, the Andromeda and the Milky Way. So essentially what the scientists discovered here is a quasar that we normally refer to as BAL quasar, which stands for Broad Absorption Lines Quasar. The idea here is really simple. When we're looking at these quasars, the BAL quasars, a lot of the light that's coming from them is actually blue shifted, meaning that it's moving really fast toward us. And a lot of these absorption lines from different molecules, like for example metal, magnesium and calcium and so on, appears to move right at us at basically really high velocities, extremely fast. This only means one thing, that the galaxy itself is expelling huge amounts of mass coming toward us. And this mass is moving at very high velocities. And we're not just talking about the actual astrophysical jets that you see right here. In other words, it's not just this. We're not just looking at the jets, we're actually looking at other mass as well. And a lot of mass. We're talking about mass of galactic proportions. All of this moving toward us at really high velocities. And in this particular case, in this particular quasar, what we're observing are the winds from the quasar moving at about 38,000 kilometers per second, and there's a lot of mass coming toward us. Over 3,000 masses of the sun worth of mass coming toward us really fast, at basically over 10% of the speed of light. Which of course implies that what we're looking at is the strongest ever quasar we've ever seen. The amount of mass and the actual speed involved here is absolutely ridiculous. And all of this seems to be produced just by the central black hole in the middle of this particular galaxy that's luckily for us really far away, over 18 billion light years away from us. If it was any closer, we might actually be in danger. And so imagine it's kind of like having over 3,000 different suns flying toward us every year at roughly around 12% the speed of light, and all of this happening at all times in every single direction, not just in one direction. And all of this of course produced by the central giant in the middle, the black hole that's roughly around 8.6 billion masses of the sun, which is actually just a little bit less than double the size of the famous M87 black hole, yet at the same time that's over 2,000 times more massive than the one in the middle of our own galaxy, Sagittarius A star. So in other words, we're lucky, our galaxy will probably never produce anything as powerful as this. In that sense, we're kind of probably safe. If our galaxy possessed something a little bit more massive, or actually dramatically more massive in the middle, we might have been in danger. And right now the calculations in this paper suggest that this is literally almost at the limit of what a black hole can even produce in terms of total energy and total emissions. It's basically pushing itself to the limits, which also of course implies that the galaxy itself is at those limits as well, and it's probably very likely that no new star is going to be created in this galaxy for a very long time, because generally speaking quasars tend to actually, well, there's no better word for it, they actually tend to kill the galaxy. Most galaxies after becoming quasars end up not being able to produce stars for a very long time and become really quiet and very dim and somewhat dark. And obviously we don't really know the future of this particular galaxy, but we know that a lot of the material here will probably end up being thrown out of the galaxy into the rest of the intergalactic space. Most of it probably ended up traveling across the intergalactic space forever, never really becoming anything unfortunately. But right now I think we should feel pretty lucky that none of these objects, none of these really powerful quasars are anywhere near us. The closest such object, or actually the closest so-called AGN, is the beautiful Centaurus A galaxy, and luckily for us, not only are the jets pointed in a different direction, but it's also not really powerful. As a matter of fact, it seems to be a lot less powerful than the vast majority of AGNs out there, so we're pretty lucky in that sense that nothing dangerous, galactically speaking, exists in the vicinity. It might exist in a few billion years, when galaxies start merging. For now though, we're pretty safe. Now there were a few more discoveries coming from this particular galaxy, and specifically in regards to how much mass is being absorbed by the black hole in order to produce these really strong winds. And the amount of material that falls into the black hole seems to be equivalent to about 176 masses of the sun per year, which actually does not seem like a lot, and as a matter of fact, some galaxies do seem to absorb a lot more, but in this case, something is causing this galaxy to create these really powerful winds that we've never seen before. And interestingly, even though we knew about this quasar for many years, this is the first time ever that we looked at it in a lot of detail, discovering these absolutely incredible properties we didn't really know about, which I'm sure will lead scientists to look at a lot of other quasars to try to discover what else we can find there as well. There are a few more discoveries coming from this quasar, and they're actually discussed in the paper in a little bit more detail. Like for example, they've discovered that some of the light coming here is slightly reddened, and they do explain this as a kind of absorption of really fast moving particles that's coming from the actual galaxy. But all of these discoveries pale in comparison to the sheer power and the strength of these winds coming from the galactic center. But unfortunately, that's kind of all I wanted to mention in this video. So basically, this is a really interesting and kind of scary discovery that reminds us of how insignificant and how tiny we are in comparison to some of these other objects in the rest of the galaxy. Some of these quasars are so powerful that they're basically mind-boggling. And remember, when we just discovered quasars in general, scientists could not even believe that such objects could possibly exist. The power here is just insane. But I'm sure there will be more quasar discoveries and possibly even other galactic discoveries that will be even crazier in the future. Which is why you should subscribe, share this with someone who loves learning about space, come back tomorrow to learn something else, and maybe consider supporting this channel on Patreon because it does help me quite a lot. You can also support this channel by buying the beautiful, wonderful person t-shirt that you can find in the description as well. On that note, I'll see you tomorrow, come back tomorrow to learn something else, space out, and as always, bye bye.
Bye bye. At this point in life, in 4 billion years' time, and we'll have to start collecting toilet paper and build bunkers and get some food. You need a lot of toilet paper. I don't think toilet paper would be the least of your worries, actually. Oh, what's that, Pip? Your computer's getting picked up. Oh.
Yeah, hubby's on the way to get it.
Oh, you might be online in the next half hour then.
Could be. It's definitely working because he took a photograph and sent it.
Fred says, I don't know, I'd shit myself. Well, that's what the toilet paper's for, Fred. Better collect that. Editing. I don't know if Alan grabbed that last slot that I... the other night. Oh, I put it here. Oh, what have we got left? 1, 2 or 3?
Ooh, where farmers go.
Don't know, he didn't even say anything.
It says time for a power cut.
How many? 1 to 3. Now, there we go. Go up to the post office and ask for a copy of the person that signed for your parcel. Show them your signature that you never gave him permission to sign. First he's got to contact the neighbour first to see what they've got to say for themselves.
Okay, was it Henry's?
Yeah, it was delivered by a courier. Didn't require a signature. Yeah.
Three, two, 3, 2. Come on, peeps.
Yeah, how hard can one number be?
I've not got all day.
2 or 3? Who's going to break it? Who's going to break the tie?
Dun, dun, dun.
Tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Need that Jeopardy music type theme song. 1 is the loneliest number. Well, 1's no good, Fred.
2.
No, you can't. No, Fred can't vote twice.
No, Demon Ord said 2.
Oh, phew. Oh, that 2 again. Okay.
Beat Carl.
There we go. There's 2. You win. Stop voting. Okay, here we go. I can hear something in the background, Pip.
Oh, it's a Taylor through in the living room. Oh.
I haven't seen anything written in the peanut gallery. What happened to Farmer? Still over. No, he's not even over on Discord, so he must have had an emergency of some sort. No, I don't know what happened to Peter.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here. It's been a busy week for me, but there's been a lot going on, and many of you have probably already heard that SpaceX...
Oh, his Farmer's back. Hear all about it. He's not having much luck. Something's going on.
successfully tested their Raptor engine on a prototype Starship hull. So last week they had been doing pressure tests. This was an image or video that was tweeted out by Elon showing it snowing in Texas. That's his quote. This is the 5th or the 6th Starship, depending upon how you count it. But it's the first one that's gone through enough of the testing and been installed with the thrust hardware so that they could actually fit engines on it and perform a static test. We did get this great picture from Elon showing underneath the thrust skirt on the Starship. Unlike the Starship Hopper, the skirt comes all the way down and covers all of the...
You're here this time.
Oh, bloody hell. I got this blue screen of death.
Oh dear.
I got an APC index mismatch, apparently.
That's a new
Whatever the
one.
bloody hell that means.
I haven't heard that one.
No, I haven't. I'm gonna have to investigate that. But yes, my computer just took a minute or two to tell me it was shutting down and then rebooted and everything seems to be working again. But and then when I came in, I couldn't hear you. So I thought, right,
Yeah.
I'll come out and go back in again.
Right.
So I'm here now.
Well, you haven't missed much. We're watching Scott.
Scott Manley.
Yeah.
the nozzles.
Cool. Okay, go for it.
Death reckons by a Mac.
No chance.
We know what to say about that, but
Yeah.
I don't like to say that type of language.
There's a single Raptor engine in there, but it's not quite in the middle because, of course, it's designed to be sitting in a cluster of 3, and the plumbing is going to be sat off-center so that they can fit 3 in there. There's also 6 landing legs around the outside. And these are, of course, designed to flip out and support it when it lands after its short flight. This SN4 was only supposed to do a short flight. The majority of the imagery coming out of this operation is coming from a bunch of fans down there who have pointed cameras at it. So this is Espadre, and what you can see here on the side...
I wonder if Red's one of the fans. They allowed to, if that's where it is, down where SpaceX is, down in Florida. Might be.
Are the black COPVs, the pressure vessels that are going to be used to pressurize the propellant inside it. Now, Raptor is designed for something called autogenous pressurization, where the propellant is heated inside the engine, it turns to gas, and then it's injected back into the tanks to keep them pressurized. So these aren't supposed to be part of the final design, they're just bolted onto the outside to make sure that they can test their engine. Another person that's been taking amazing imagery for everyone, and we really love her, is Boca Chica gal Mary down in Boca Chica, obviously. And she was basically the person that was kind of running all the cameras for the NASA Spaceflight.com stream. And I joined that earlier in the week, and I was very happy to sit and watch the tank get cold, frosty, watch some gas burp out of the bottom in what was presumed to be a test where they spun up the turbines on the pumps.
Oh, thanks, Fred. SpaceX tests their things in Texas, not down in Florida. Okay.
No, just
I unfortunately managed to miss the first test firing of a Raptor engine on a Starship hull. This was Tuesday night. You could see them getting ready, and boom, there you go. Full flow stage combustion cycle. It probably only fired for a couple of seconds, but during that time it would have burned over a ton of propellant. And I do strongly suggest you go and check out NASA Spaceflight's actual live stream so you can hear the fans reacting like crazed sports fans. It's always fun. Now, the next day, we had another test, and unfortunately, NASA Spaceflight cameras were broken, so it was missed. Everyday Astronaut, of course, was also on scene working with Espadre and got a completely different angle. And again, you know, I gotta give huge amounts of respect to people that are down there taking all these videos and imagery. I mean, I like to think that my armchair analysis sometimes adds something that isn't captured in the images, but without those images, we would be speculating in a vacuum. So, absolute respect to everybody that's down there that's covering this, to NASA Spaceflight, Boca Chica Mary, Everyday Astronaut, Espadre. Yeah, seriously, love those people. So that's obviously a big step forward for SpaceX's Starship program, but they're going to have to keep delivering on these steps forward if they're going to keep, well, if they're going to make NASA happy and be seriously considered as a human landing system contender. After these tests, the engine was removed and has been placed elsewhere, so we're not sure if they're going to do further testing on the tank, if the engine needs to be inspected further before they're going to fly it. I think that's very likely. Hopefully the engine wasn't damaged because that will delay things. We did find out that it was engine number 18, which of course puts another data point on the production rate of Raptor engines. While this was all happening, musician and artist Grimes had her child. What's this got to do with SpaceX? Well, if you don't know, Elon Musk is the father. So congratulations to everyone involved on a successful payload delivery. And if you think this isn't spacey enough, wait till you see what the name is. Zia 12. What? Okay. I think these two were made for each other. The explanation that Grimes offers for the name is fascinating and indeed led to many, many clicks on my video about the A12 Ox cart. And I, of course, can vibe with that. I've got a son named Orion after a mythical titan or a constellation or even a nuclear bomb-powered starship. And you might dismiss that as some sort of crazy nerd name, that he might have problems at school. No, he went into first grade and he was the second Orion in that class. Maybe that's just because I live in California. Anyway, California, also home to Hollywood, and the news is that Tom Cruise is planning on filming a movie on the space station in collaboration with SpaceX. I presume the collaboration that SpaceX will offer will be to deliver the star and their support staff to the space station. Now, I was initially skeptical. I mean, sure, Tom Cruise loves to do his own stunts and he'd fly to the space station, but I thought the whole thing would be too ridiculously expensive. But then, later in the week, both Jim Bridenstine and Elon Musk confirmed that this was legit. Last year, NASA finalized the cost structure for private individuals that wanted to use the space station. It works out to be just over $35,000 per day per person. But that probably compares favourably to Tom Cruise's going rate. The real cost, however, will be in delivering the stars and the film crew to the space station. Space Adventures is talking about $200 million to send 4 people to space. I think SpaceX's price will be a bit lower, but all the same, that's the budget of a pretty serious movie. And the ISS doesn't exactly offer a huge amount of space to film in. What it does offer, however, is amazing views. I mean, whatever they do, it's still going to be cheaper to do it with, visual effects. But Tom Cruise loves to do his own stunts. I'm sure it's definitely a marketing hook that talks about it being a film filmed in space. And hey, the worst that happens is they actually get to hang around real astronauts and scientists who actually fix their scripts. And of course, it's not the first movie that's filmed in space. It's the first fictional work filmed in space, I guess. Back when the space station started, they actually launched an IMAX camera with the crews, and that was turned into a documentary in 2002, narrated by Tom Cruise. And finally, an update on the Chinese launch from earlier in the week. The spacecraft spent a few days in orbit. First of all, their inflatable heat shield experiment, which apparently goes back a few years now, it apparently landed the next day and failed to be successful, whatever that means. Some sources say that it flipped over on descent. But regardless, it was supposed to land without any parachute or anything. But of course, the whole capsule was loaded up with whatever experiments they could find. For example, they included a bunch of seeds since they were going to be flying through the Van Allen belts. And in fact, this mission would fly through the Van Allen belt several times because they took several orbits to get up to their target orbit. There was also a 3D printer that was on board being tested. NASA, of course, has its own 3D printer on the International Space Station. Space-based fabrication is really a big deal because if you can just upload, designs for a part and have it printed, that saves a lot of problems given how long it takes to get stuff up to space. And hey, could you imagine how different Apollo 13 would have been if they could have just 3D printed an adapter for their carbon dioxide scrubbers? So yeah, the capsule that was going to be doing the landing, it flew for 3 days in space, slowly raising its orbit to an apogee of about 8,000 kilometers. Apparently, they also said that it was going to do a skip re-entry, which is something Apollo did. That's where it skips down deeper into the atmosphere and then rises back up using aerodynamics of the capsule. And this spreads out the thermal load over a longer period of time and means that your heat shield can be different, better. I don't know. There's many things you can optimize for in re-entries. So yeah, this is the footage we have. It's all SD quality. The heat shield, of course, is detachable and you get to see it pop off. There it goes, falls onto the surface. The capsule's using 3 parachutes for redundancy, although unlike, say, SpaceX parachutes, they're all the same. There's no pattern coding to let you know which one's which. But as I said, it'll be years before this flies. They'll be using the Shenzhou for a good amount of time to come. On the landing, you can see, it is definitely bearing quite a resemblance to the classic Dragon 1 capsule. Although, to be fair, the laws of physics kind of constrain what you can do in terms of capsule design and aerodynamic stability. I also saw confirmation that the service module was apparently much closer to the Apollo module. Some sources claimed that it had hydrogen-oxygen fuel cells on it, which is interesting because it also has solar panels as well. Anyway, that's the sort of roundup of everything that happened in the last 3 days. I've got to get back to work. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.
Demonov said he's got
Dropping like flies.
He's got a picture of his truck next to that actual helicopter that Tom Cruise was on. Okay. Yeah, filming something in the space station compared to just having something CGI'd, it might end up being cheaper to do it actually on the space station. It's going to cost 35 grand per person per day.
Okay. This was the discussion we was having in Jose's the other day, and Stingray was saying that with things now getting cheaper, with commercial space travel now becoming viable, if you want the perfect zero G look, which is very, very difficult to do down here on Earth, and to try and simulate it and use CGI and everything else, then it might just make sense to go up in space and do it for real. Of course, all the flat earthers are going, oh, well, yeah, there you go. It proves it's all made in Hollywood because Hollywood are going to make it. Yes, Hollywood are going to make it in space. Because it is very difficult to 100% simulate a human being in zero G.
I wonder if they've done any film footage inside a parabolic flight at the airplane, like trying to do stuff like that or not on those planes.
Well, they have. Have you watched Apollo 13?
The one with Tom Hanks.
Yep. There are scenes in that when they're inside the command module and they're in zero G and things are floating around and they're throwing things to each other.
Right.
That is in zero G. because they built, that's a set that they built inside the Vomit Comet.
Right.
And they did somewhere between 500 and 600 curves.
Wow.
And they reckoned that they could only film for about 15 to 20 seconds at a time, because people got into position and they'd start the maneuver and they'd achieve 0G, then they'd film it, and then and then they'd sort of have to get back into a safe position again before gravity took over. And they did that somewhere between 500 and 600 times, so that when you see them in the film, when they're in 0G, they are actually in 0G.
And you'll only see 10 to 15 seconds worth of footage
you
in
won't,
one shot.
Each of those shots isn't very long, because I think the most they can get, if they weren't in a film set and you see these guys, when they're just fooling around inside, you only get somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds anyway.
Yeah.
Before gravity comes back and they repeat the whole maneuver over again. That's always been one of the big arguments when you see these tours they do of the ISS, and they can go for 10 or 15 minutes completely uncut. But they're now saying, oh, well, editing software is that good that you can't see the cuts. No, that's as maybe. They're in 0G. We all know the ISS is up there. Well, those of us who subscribe to reality anyway. Oh, Christ, I've lost count the number of times I've seen it come over. But yeah, it's getting to the point now. I mean, I don't know how much they could film, because, like you said, the habitable portion of the ISS is quite small. I mean, a lot of the modules up there were only big enough that would fit inside the cargo bay of the shuttle, so they're not that big. It's not like Skylab. You look at the old film of Skylab; that thing was huge.
They're probably they're going to use just a little bit of him floating around in 0G in the space station with a bit of talking and using their script, whatever, and then that'll be it. And then have some sort of story behind it, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And maybe film outside, looking at Earth through the glass windows. Maybe they might show a shot of that.
Yeah. Who knows?
But it'll be dramatised. Might be some sort of problem. Something might happen. They might throw some CGI effects as well here and there, just make it look better. Because it'd be a pretty boring movie. It's just someone standing there, like you see them do the ISS documentaries, talking. And the bloke's just standing there, like the one we watched the other week. That wouldn't make a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll only be one small part of a film, but you can't get anything more real than somebody actually being in 0G, actually being inside the ISS. Because you only have to watch, and you can see that they're in 0G. I mean, their bodies, their faces, their hair, their clothes, the loose watch straps, everything is floating about. Everything behaves differently when there's no gravity.
Even water.
No effect. But even to the point, their faces, the skin on your face, everything sits differently because there's no gravity pulling it down. I mean, baggy clothing, baggy tops just float on the astronauts. They don't stick to the body because there's no gravity to make it stick. The watch straps that are slightly loose, and every time they move the hand, you can see the watch moving about. Necklaces, hair, everything is quite clearly in 0G, and that's very difficult to do.
And your socks don't fall down.
But it's even things like when you watch them and they're talking to camera, they all have this habit of either crossing their arms or holding their hands together in front of them. Because if they don't, their arms just drift out.
Yeah.
And I think that gets really annoying. That's why you see one hand grabbing the wrist of the other in front of them, or they cross their arms. Because if they don't, their arms just go all over the place, and they have to physically keep pulling them down. So they just, cross arms or sort of hold their hands together.
Or hold a handrail on the side there.
Yep.
Just
Well, most of the time when they're talking, and if you can see it, you can see their feet are hooked under a rail. The inside of that thing has got rails and handholds all over the place, because otherwise you just start drifting.
Pip's back with her old avatar.
Hello.
Hello.
Give me time, I shall change it. Literally just.
Are you trying to
Yeah,
trick us, are you? Are you on your PC?
Yeah.
Yes, on the PC.
Yeah, you're tricking us because I thought you were back on the iPad with your avatar. I thought, uh-oh, not again.
No.
She's a tricksy one.
Give me a moment. Kind of forgot what to do.
And everything seems to be going...
Yeah. Everything seems to be fine. Apart from, for some reason, when it came back. You know the bit you connect your router into or your Ethernet cable into?
Yeah.
It had like a tab over it, so I had to get pliers and unhook it.
Oh,
Instead
it
of
was
being
covered.
inside
Yeah,
it,
it
you'd
was
like
factory covered over, yeah.
So sorted. I just poked it till it went away.
So it's all nice and shiny and clean. Wow.
Yay!
So you used the old tower and everything?
Oh yeah, he gave me all the old bits back, all the old gubbins back.
Oh, okay.
Which was not working. He said it was something to do with the graphics card overloaded. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. Double Dutch to me.
But if it's all working now, and you'll be able
Seems
to
to be
test it,
working.
you'll be able to see how many tabs you can open and all sorts of stuff. Okay.
Yes, point laugh. The point of getting this PC was to stream. We're
down to A or B.
4. Sorry.
Oh. My audio's going better.
APC index mismatch. Asynchronous procedure call.
Did L. Ron Hubbard have a say in Tom Cruise's appearance in the movie? I don't know what you meant by that.
I will not. I never watched any Tom Cruise movies, and I certainly will not be watching
That
anything.
could be difficult considering he's dead.
1988, he died, I think it was.
Yes, I think so.
No, I don't watch Tom Cruise. I don't want to give Scientology any more money.
Oh, Scientology stuff that is to do with now. Now I got it. Now I got it.
Scientology.
Okay.
Tom Cruise is best friends with the leader. Mr. Miscavige.
Okay, B. What do you got for B? Oh, okay. Tidy.
Tidy.
Tidy. Tidy.
Just become a pirate. Well, flat
Oh,
Earth.
I haven't watched this one yet.
Oh, cool.
Just
No,
become a
we're not
pirate, Pip. Pirate Pip. Pirate Pip. That rolls off the tongue pretty good, doesn't it? Pirate Pip.
Did I say something? Fred, I know I stopped watching Handmaid's Tale and everything because Elizabeth Moss is one too. And Kirstie Alley. Oh, I know my Scientology stuff. That's how I ended up in Flat Earth. Well, cults anyway.
Yeah, but John Travolta was good in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a Scientologist then.
See? Oh. John Travolta. Oh.
Yeah, Kirstie Alley's one as well.
Yeah.
Priscilla Presley was. Don't think she is anymore. Leah Remini left.
I don't know what they see in it. This video contains a challenge to all flat earthers and flat earth debunkers.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Let's see them.
Yes, Creaky. Now, what did you got?
Oh, you're still here.
I mean, still here. We just
sorry,
got
I'm
here.
still waiting for an answer to the question I asked in my last video about why the moon appears to be upside down from what we see when viewed from the southern hemisphere.
Like for
but
us,
still
yeah.
nothing.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Playing a Blinder with me, the Creaky Blinder. Now, it was never my intention to just upload videos where I'm making fun of flat earthers, but the last few videos, with the exception of the last but one, which we won't talk about, have been flat earth videos. But it's not my fault. They just keep appearing in my suggested videos. Tidy! Oh, great. He wears sunglasses indoors in winter at night time. I hate him already.
Welcome to the 4-dimensional Flat Earth channel.
Well, how very polite. And it's refreshing to come across a new flat earther, because you can only make fun of Nathan Thompson so many times.
Can't believe this could be.
Oh, Nathan, don't worry. I'm going to be making plenty more videos about you, you moron.
On this channel, we'll be making videos exploring the world that we live in.
I'm confused. I thought you said you were a flat earther.
There's many other channels that have done a really great job of showing how the world appears to be flat.
Have they? I must have missed those.
Such as Jeranism, the Globebusters.
Sorry, you wouldn't mind repeating that, would you? I could have sworn blind that you just said that Jeranism and the Globebusters have proven that the Earth is flat.
Such as Jeranism.
I mean, it's his. We don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting.
The Globebusters.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Bob and Jeranism have certainly proved something, but it isn't that the Earth is flat.
There's been so much done in that regard that I kind of feel like it's almost got to the point where we don't even really need to flog that dead horse anymore.
I can't believe this. We're only 2 minutes into this video and this is the second time I'm agreeing with a flat earther. Who'd have thunk it? But I totally agree. It's pointless flogging the flat earth? Let's try that again, shall we? It's pointless flogging the flat earth dead horse anymore, because we don't need to. Because flat earthers do such a great job of proving that the Earth is a globe that we don't really need to bother. Which is why I don't. And I just choose to make fun of flat earth morons.
It's been shown to be much, flatter than we've been told.
But by who? And how? Because Jeranism and Bob did an excellent job of demonstrating that the Earth is a globe. So I'd love to know who these people are that you were putting all your faith in.
There was the recent videos, I forget his name now, I'll have to put it in the link in the description. I think it was TJ. I got that wrong.
Well, thanks for that. Don't promise to put a link in the description and then not do it. And he's talking about TJ Jones. Have any of you come across TJ Jones in my comment section? If you have, you'll know why that's so funny. And if you're going to go and look for him in the comment section of this video, you may just as well hit the subscribe button and turn on bell notifications while you're down there. Unless, of course, you're already subscribed, in which case you can miss out that bit.
Someone who basically took an infrared lens into an airplane, and you can see for like 600 miles or something.
Now, the how far you can see argument is a poor one at best, because even ophthalmologists take the curve of the Earth into account when calculating how far somebody can see. Now, bear with me while I explain. I've taken this information off healthline.com. So, seeing distances, these are the three main factors. Based on the curve of the Earth, standing on a flat surface with your eyes about 5 feet off the ground, the farthest edge that you can see is about 3 miles away. Using the term edge probably isn't ideal, Healthline, but anyway. Detecting a candle flame. Researchers believe that without obstructions, a person with healthy but average vision could see a candle flame from as far away as 1.6 miles. Without the Earth's curvature, from maybe in a plane, you might be able to identify objects from dozens, even hundreds of miles away. And of course, that's before you factor in things like the size of the object you're looking at. Nobody struggles to see the moon, unless, of course, they close their eyes. And the moon is almost 250,000 miles away.
Okay, so that's been done to death. There's been the laser experiments, etc., etc.
What's the matter, Shades Boy? Can't think of anything else to say? Because as far as I can tell, etc., etc., basically translates in flat art to...
Somebody help me. I can't think of anything else to say.
So in this channel, I want to explore my 4-dimensional flat Earth model, which seems to have had not enough discussion, I think, worldwide.
I can explain that to you. That'll be because your videos on average get less than 100 views, which is a bit strange if you ask me, seeing as you've got nearly 2,000 subscribers. But that'll be why it doesn't get the attention it deserves worldwide.
As it deserves.
Can I just give you a piece of friendly advice? One YouTuber to another. Don't say that your videos don't get as many views as they deserve. I never say it. I think my videos should get a lot more views. But you know why I've never said that sentence? Because I don't want to sound like an entitled prick. Oh crap, he just made me say I think my videos don't get enough views, didn't he? Damn these cunning flat earthers.
I believe that, you know, if there is a creator of this universe, as I believe there is, an intelligent creator, and that intelligent creator had the power to create our entire reality, create everything. I mean, you have to really meditate on that.
Why am I not surprised? An all-knowing creator. And can these flat earthers please stop mentioning meditation? You can't spoil that for me as well, please.
You know, if this creator could do that, then of course they could make it an infinitely looping flat plane.
Okay, I will humour you. Let's say, for example, there is a god, an all-knowing, all-powerful creator that created the world we live in, evolution. Why would he only make the earth flat and make the rest of them spherical? Doesn't sound really smart to me.
That wouldn't be a problem for that kind of a being, a creator, right?
Well, if there was such a being, then no, it would be no problem at all. Because magic and stuff.
So I don't know why everyone finds it such a difficult concept. It's actually very simple.
Again, I can clear that up for you as well. I feel like Mr. Helpy Helpington today. The reason I find it such a difficult concept to grasp is because the average person isn't really stupid. And yes, it is simple. Hang on, let me rephrase that. The people that believe the earth is flat are simple. You know? Simple. But the concept of flat earth is just as ridiculous now as it's ever been. And while we're on the subject of ridiculousness, my fellow debunker, well, I'm not a debunker, my fellow flat earth debunking / making fun of flat earthers YouTube creators, you'll know what I mean. We've been challenged by one of our own. But I think it's a very good challenge. And I have just been speaking to said person on my Discord server, and I told him I would include it in today's video, which is what this is. So bear with me momentarily while I glance away from the camera to read said comment, because I think it's a really good one. Touchpad, who is a long-time subscriber of mine and many of our other channels. Okay, I've been following Flat Earth debunkers for quite a while now, and just to prove that Flat Earth is truly dead, you may be onto something here. I have a challenge for all the Flat Earth debunkers. That's, well, it's not really me, I just make fun of them, but that's you, Simon Dan. You fight the Flat Earth, Team Skeptic, Plan Walk, Conspiracy Cats, and loads of others which I'm sure I'm missing out, and for which I apologise most profusely. But this is the challenge. Can you take a Flat Earth video that is at most 1 month old, which claims to have new proofs of Flat Earth, and debunk it by only using content from your own videos? Which I think is a bloody good challenge. And do you want to know what my answer was? I will tell you immediately, if not sooner. This was my answer. I said to Touchpad, no, I cannot. And you want to know why I cannot? Because there are not now, nor have there ever been, any valid Flat Earth arguments. And before anyone gets all butthurt and jumps to the defense of my friends, i.e. other Flat Earth, you know what I mean? No. Just no. The whole idea of this is to further illustrate, as suggested by Touchpad, just how ridiculous the whole idea of Flat Earth is Full stop. Period. For my American friends.
Compare it to a two-dimensional model. People living on a flat two-dimensional model. You get a strip of paper, you twist it around in a loop, you've got something called a Möbius strip, or Möbius strip. You know, with our consciousness that we have, we can perceive that that is a three-dimensional structure. I can turn it around and if someone's standing on one side of the paper, I can see that there's an underneath to that paper. But if someone's living on that surface of that paper and they keep walking, they'll just go round and round and round and round and round forever. And they'll never see that there's another side. They'll just think that there's one side that seems to go on forever.
Sorry everyone, you're just going to have to fill the blanks in on that one yourself, because I've watched that clip 5 times now and I cannot make any sense of anything he's saying, apart from I can't help thinking that maybe he's quite a big fan of the Matrix movie.
Now you chunk that up into 3D and 4D, and you have a perfect description of the world that we live in.
So you think the Earth is like the ring that goes around a barrel, and there are people living on one side and living on the other side? To quote Simon Dan, oh dear.
You know, just look at Glitch in the Matrix.
Bingo.
There's lots and lots and lots of circumstantial, eyewitness reports of things that can only be explained by there being other dimensions of space.
Wrong use of the word circumstantial, but we won't bring that up, will we? Eyewitness reports aren't as reliable as you think they might be, because generally what happens is when somebody is describing the incident that they witnessed, they're not actually describing what they witnessed. They're describing the last time they remembered it, if that makes sense. But it's true. Honest. But that being said, does it really matter anyway? This guy thinks the Earth is flat. I don't. But then again, I'm not a complete moron, am I? What's this video next? You're at a loose end, we're in a lockdown. Hit the subscribe button and I'll see you next time. Take care everyone. Bye bye.
Oh, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel to find these flat earthers, I tell you.
Yep.
Well, they're coming out of the woodwork since the lockdown.
He's probably just doing it for a laugh, to make his friends laugh. It seems like the type. Bit of a nub.
Yeah.
From Chelsea, I would say.
Now, what have we got left? Last one. Is a male Karen called a Kevin? Depends on what country you're from.
Either that or a Chad. Chad.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Oh, Pip's changed her avatar. Look
Oh,
out.
yeah. You only just noticed.
I changed it as soon as you asked me. The fan in this is quite loud now. It wasn't as loud as that before.
I swear I can hear Morse code.
Okay, anyone want to guess who the last video is out there?
I know who it is.
I know somebody out there in the peanut gallery there the other week were asking who the video was, and they guessed it 2 out of 2.
I think it was Eden, was it not?
I thought it was Andrea, wasn't it?
It was Andrea, yeah, might be.
Might have been Andrea.
I'm going to guess Professor Phil.
No, this is
Oh, I can see it. No, it's Simon Band.
I can hear Morse code, very faintly in the background.
Morse code coming
Yep.
from me.
I don't know.
I can't
But
hear
no,
it.
Okay.
Not on my end.
It's Pip. Pip's just muted and it's gone.
Really?
How weird is that?
Ah, that's weird.
I can't
Are
hear
you
any.
sending Morse code to you, Pip?
SOS. It's my subconscious.
Very, very faintly in the background through my headphones. I can hear the beep, 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 beep.
Maybe it's the fan you're hearing. It's definitely noisy, isn't it?
Ah, yes, now it's continuous. It could be the fan. Yeah, I don't
Go
know.
down nearer it.
But yes, that's it.
Okay.
The fan. Huh.
It might be at a decibel that I might not be able to hear because I've got hearing loss, so I can't hear certain sounds.
Oh, my hearing's terrible.
It's the higher pitches that go first generally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably what it is
It's the
for
lower
me.
pitches.
The kids used to have this app or something. It was noises like the dog.
That's why I've got to wear hearing aids when I'm around people because I can't hear them talk properly.
Yeah, and lower pitch stuff tends to carry, which is why when you hear them doing stuff in churches, it tends to be a lower pitch because it carries across the distance better. I don't know what the fan's telling me, Andrea. All I know is I can hear it, but I can't. Some bugger's turning the subtitles off, so I don't know what it's telling me. Pip's rubbing her boobs on the mic again.
No, I don't think it was that sound.
I don't think. No, it wasn't that. No.
I haven't heard any guesses from the Peanuts to who the last video is yet. I asked them 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I sound like I can hear a high-pitched sound.
That's my fan then.
Yeah,
every now and again I catch it.
Yeah, it's definitely louder than it was.
Yeah, there it is. I just heard it then.
But it keeps coming in and out, which is why to me it sounds
As I
like
move my
because
as I move my head.
No, it's not Professor Phil's non-sec.
Over here, further away from.
Pip's video? No, Room Fondle, not
No.
Pip's video. They can actually see the screen. They can see the screen with what's there, and it's not helping them.
I mean, I know who it is anyway because I've watched it. But even if I hadn't watched it, I'd have recognised the title because it all comes up in my notifications, doesn't it?
Professor Phil goes for a bit long at this time of night.
I'm going to say it's Simon Dan or Planner Walk.
No, sorry. No, you're out. No more guesses for you. Baldy Cats? No, Andrea, not Baldy Cats. Fred says, how about play it, then we guess. I like your logic, Fred.
Yeah, can't fault him for that.
Yeah, not Bob. I can't even give any clues.
Yeah, because any clue you give will just
any clue that I give. Geez, I don't know. Is that subtle?
That not very. Really.
We'll see how clever the Peanuts are.
Yeah. See how carefully they're paying attention.
No, not Professor Stick. Oh, Coward Castle said Mr. Sensible. Now, how did you work that one out, Coward? I mean, Eden? Oh, sorry, Coward. Sorry.
Whoever.
Oh, dear.
Come on, Coward Castle. How did you figure that one out? You can't just say you guessed. Length of the video? No, that wouldn't have been a clue. Geez, they're not very clever, are they?
No.
It might be my accent. Okay then.
No, never mind. It's worth a try.
Yeah, I know. How many more cheeses could I give?
Radiation is
I know.
doing to you from everyday things like mobile phones, microwave ovens, and total thermonuclear warfare? Well, stop and worry no more, because I found a guy who can protect you. A good friend of this channel, Mr. Mohammed Shafiq, pointed me at another channel called Being Iwi. It's an absolute goldmine. So massive thanks, Mohammed. Also, great thanks to my patrons. With massive thanks to all my patrons, including new patrons Nicola Redmond, AZ Atheist, Grumpy Old Man, Hugh Jast, Larry XK, Yuha Escalinen, Purple Rhymes with Orange, Tim Nicholas, Roy C and Patricia Desangelis, and my latest patrons, the Key Weasel and Lucas Hoy. Thank you all so very much. Thank goodness Being Iwi is now on our radar, because that means we can protect ourselves against the horrors of radiation. Roll VT.
Hey guys, how you doing? This is Dan from Being Iwi. I hope you're all good.
Not so bad, thanks Dan.
Now this video is an information video. The information is about how to protect from radiation and some ideas, some tips.
Well, with your lighting, it looks like you're living right next to some nuclear power station. Tip number 1 would be not to.
If you haven't seen one of the videos,
then you're probably blessed.
I suggest you watch them, because that'll explain to you more of why I'm giving you information on how to protect from radiation without saying any of the other words that we know we're not allowed to say.
What, like bum, willy and boobies?
These glasses.
So are these.
I don't know if you can see it there, but I know I can. But they have a blue tint to them. These protect basically stop 100% blue light.
You should order a pair of Jujanta 200 superchromatic peril sensitive sunglasses, which are specifically designed to help people develop a relaxed attitude to danger. At the first sign of trouble, they turn totally black and thus prevent you from seeing anything that might alarm you.
Now the blue light stops your pineal gland from creating melatonin.
Yes, and melatonin can affect your sleep pattern. That's why lots of mobile phones have a blue light mode, so that if you're using them late at night, you're not going to upset your sleep pattern.
So it's basically affecting your pineal gland. We need the pineal gland to receive information.
You say what?
I'm not going to get into that now.
Oh.
But that's what it does. We receive downloads, information from light waves from the sun. Upgrades and all that, but I'm not going to get into that.
That sounded really interesting. I suppose you better tell us how to protect against radiation then.
Next is this here. You won't be able to read it because it's upside down because of the camera, but what this is, it's a powder.
I'm wondering how much per kilo that is.
As you can see, I've not opened it. This is military grade powder.
What, as opposed to home use grade powder?
And as it states, it is contamination kit personal. So this is instructions for use, shelter from the wind, squeeze the puffer bottle with the nozzle about 6 inches from the item. You only need thin layer of powder.
Is that when you make it into nice little lines and go looking for a £10 note?
Now what this does is, if you're contaminated with radiation, ideally it's like downfall from a nuclear blast or something like that.
Oh yeah, a nuclear blast. That would be ideal. And you don't get contaminated with radiation. You receive radiation and you get contaminated with radioactive material.
But they work the same way. If you really do feel completely contaminated, this stuff's good.
Well, I guess if it isn't any good and you die of radiation poisoning, Amazon are quite good at returns.
If you do feel contaminated with radiation, let's say you go out and you feel like you've had, been contaminated with...
So perhaps you noticed that the centre of town was destroyed in a thermonuclear explosion and you notice yourself covered in ash, perhaps?
What you do is you go home, you'll take your clothes off, you'll wash them, but when you have a wash, you have a shower, use soapy water, that's fine.
And just for your information, that powder doesn't destroy radiation or radioactive material. It absorbs radioactive material so that it can be removed from your body.
It sounds crazy all this, but this is how you must stop being radiated.
Anyway, I'm more interested now in everyday worries of radiation, because in my lifetime the number of times I've had to be concerned with a thermonuclear device going off is none, and I counted it twice. What I want to see is some DIY PPE. You've got some fancy material, haven't you?
It's like 1 metre by 1 metre, 0.1 or something. You can see how big it is. So if it comes to doing trousers, you could literally put it around.
Are you a tailor from Savile Row?
Cut it, sew it, do it again, join it, and then you'll just...
Look like a total dork. I'm not sure which I prefer. Walking around in trousers like that, or dying horribly of radiation sickness.
See what I mean? That's just one of them that I bought. It's just one of them. So you could do it, cut it, do everything. Anyone that does sewing or out like that, it'd be even easier. It's very thin, it's easy to cut and all that. It's very, very good.
Sorry, pal. Until I see that on the fashion runway, I'll be giving that one a miss.
The hat that I wear.
That's more like it. First order of business, protect your brain if you have one.
You need to get yourself some material. This material protects from radiation frequencies.
Okay.
You might call it RF material. You might call it EMF material.
I call it material for a YouTube debunking video.
It's all good. It's strong. I've actually put that up at my windows.
Very tasteful. Does it come in Laura Ashley pattern as well?
You literally cut a certain size, get it in your hat, push it all in, cut as much off as you can, and then you'll stick it down. Make sure you cover the peak as well, so you've got it on the peak.
Well, I really hope you do a step-by-step video to explain this to us.
Yeah, so it's all there, and then you'll just cut off any excess, yeah? Glue it. I'm going to glue it with the, it's obviously upside down, but UHU glue. That'll work. You might be able to get some upholstery glue maybe. I'm not too sure. You'll have to figure that out. But yeah, so that is so when you put your hat on, you've got good protection down into your brain.
Making sure there's a brain in there in the first place. Okay, how to make a radiation hat. Food shortages, forced vaccines, the real plan to take over the world, face recognition as... Oh, there we go. Radiation hat. How to make a frequency protection hat.
So this video is quickly going to show you how I make the protective hat. Radiation protection, okay?
Excellent. And I've got a hat ready.
More layers the better, I would obviously suggest, but this is just the one layer. And that's it stuck in now, drying.
Oh, that's hardly a step-by-step guide, is it?
So, how do we get to that? Quite simple. You get your material, cut it to whatever size you want, so you know it's definitely going to fit in the hat.
Oh, I don't have any of that radiation cloth. I'll have to skip that bit.
You'll get your material, the size that you've cut. Yeah, whatever size, obviously not this much, but you get, if you've got this kind of glue, you put it on, wherever you need to, all around, wherever it needs to be. Now, I would recommend if you've only got this glue, get a brush so you can brush it all on, so it covers all the surface, so it sticks good.
Okay, we want it to stick good.
So once you've got your glue all on that, you cut it to size, you've put your glue on it, now you've got your hat. Now the hat's still made of material, so it still caves in a little bit. Now you want to be able to get the shape of the hat. So what I would do is, like I've got a few pieces here, because I use a lot of tinfoil.
Somehow, that doesn't surprise me.
Use this as a protective layer, so when you put that in there and you'll put your glue on, you'll push it in a little bit, make sure all your top parts are covered so you know it's not going to go too far low down, and then you'll add a piece of tinfoil just like that, so when you put it on your head and push it down and get your shape. I'll show you, but don't take my word for it. This is just advice. I know it looks silly, don't laugh.
Believe me, I wouldn't dream of laughing at you.
So then you've got your shape, so you're going to leave that to then dry. After you've done that, you can then cut all off the edges, and then the back bit, or cut that bit out just so it looks better.
If you cut that whole bit out, won't the radiation sneak in there?
Yeah, and then after that you can cut off what you need, attach more bits to the peak if you need, which I'm sure you will. More the merrier, you know, better, thicker, more layers, better.
Do you know what, Dan? I don't think this is enough protection. I've got an idea. Now that's what I call protection. It also protects against coronavirus.
And I hope that helped you. Yeah. Loving each other, loving that sunshine.
I feel like a roast chicken. Anyway, cheers. Bugger.
Shut up and sit down.
What an idiot. Oh my goodness.
They come in all shapes and sizes. Oh dear. I don't know how some people can think themselves being serious or take themselves being serious doing that after the. Do they even watch their own videos afterwards?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
His mum probably says it's wonderful.
Yeah, his mum probably said it was okay. Yes, son, you do what you think what's right. Oh dear.
Never ceases to amaze me that on YouTube you can present yourself to the world in any way you want. Why do some people choose to present themselves as idiots?
Yes.
Beats the hell out of me. Really does.
Oh, that seems to be a lot for tonight. What have we got? Got a story. I don't know if this is the last one. Is this the... I'll just share it panel so I can just find out if... Of Pip, is this the last one you did?
Yes, I believe that is. That was yesterday's, because I think she's premiering one this afternoon.
Yes,
Yeah.
7 o'clock tonight.
Tonight. I knew it was sometime today.
Wasn't sure how long Terry would go on, and I didn't want to stuck between him and Jose, and so I thought I'll do it later.
No, I said that I'd be in bed by the time you probably presented the one you wanted to do later on for your night.
So,
what time is it? Late afternoon?
8
2 o'clock in the
tonight.
afternoon? Yeah. I'll be in bed by the time you... Probably later.
5 hours-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 o'clock in your morning or something.
Mm.
Sorry.
Somebody did ask me yesterday why don't I do the in-betweens before pre-show, after shows early in the afternoon, like I was doing them about 4 o'clock. I'm doing them through Alan's channel at the moment, and Alan's been setting them up for UK time about 10 o'clock, I think they started.
Yes, it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning our time.
But to be honest, it gives us time to do, well, me time to do housework and things before I sit my arse.
Now, well, that's your lot for the week. And time for a story.
My smelly ass. Whilst walking my ass across some Scottish Highland grass, I came across a young lass at an underpass. As she watched me pass, she said, "You have a very smelly ass." I said, "Everyone I pass tells me I have a very smelly ass, but I can honestly say I wash my ass every day, yet no matter what I do, my ass always smells of poo." "Maybe your mouldy mule is eating the wrong kind of fuel," she said. "The world's greatest gas experts have studied my ass, yet even they were wrong about what makes my ass pong. It remains a murky mystery," I said. "That's sad, but at least I'm glad my ass doesn't smell so bad," she said. "I feel quite sure I've seen your ass somewhere before," I said. "My ass won Ass of the Year, dear, 3 years on the trot. Millions of fans on social media follow my ass wherever it goes, and I think it knows." "So your ass is a social media influencer," I said. "It sure is," she said. "My ass has influenced millions across the world and helps give meaning to their lives. Would you like a selfie with my ass?" I said, "Nah, I think I'll pass. I can't think of anyone who'd want to be influenced by my smelly ass." "I agree. It would be more of a smelfie than a selfie," she replied. She then pointed to a blanket covering her ass and said, "I just bought this new blanket today. Does it fit my ass?" I said, "To be honest, I think your ass looks big in that." I continued, "Listen, lass, you have an award-winning ass and relish the fame, but I don't yet know your name." She said, "My parents called me after their pet hen, who sadly died in her pen back when my brother Ben was just 10 and when I was still inside my mummy's tummy. The hen was eaten in its pen by Henry, our pet fox, who escaped his box during a thunderous gale." I said, "That's a very sad tale, but what was the pet hen in the pen called?" She replied, "Oh, the hen in the pen didn't have a name, so they thought it would be a good game to call me Henrietta." Henry ate her. Henrietta stroked my smelly ass while holding her nose and striking a strange social media sort of pose. As she stroked my smelly ass, it started to tickle, making my ass rear up and end in a pickle, getting its hind foot stuck in a hole which had been dug by a mole. My ass fought bravely with the hole whilst Henrietta looked on. It kicked harder than I've ever seen any ass kick before, but the hole in the grass trapped my smelly ass, and it was fast becoming hopeless. My ass began to panic, causing methane pressure to build up inside its hide, making it bulge ever more wide. I said, "You know my ass is going to blow." She started to frown, and we prepared to drown in a pungent sea of flatulence, whilst I feared the sonic booms might destroy all the rooms in the nearby town. Then, like 1,000 football stadiums of flatulent fans all blowing off together in perfect harmony, my ass suffered a major gas leak, leaving us unable to even speak. I was so loud, but my ass looked so proud. Unfortunately, at that very moment, a passer-by tossed his burning cigarette butt up high, falling into the glass cloud from the sky. His butt detonated a big bang and the whole universe rang, as my ass sent out a shockwave of flaming ash radiation, which knocked us off our feet and into the street. Looking up, I felt a little proud that my smelly ass had produced such a huge mushroom cloud. Still in a daze, I got my ass back on its feet, in the haze, whilst all around us was now ablaze as Henrietta screamed, "My ass is on fire!" In a dash, I ripped the burning blanket off her ass, stamped out the flatulent flames, and threw it into the river with a shiver. I said, "Lass, you have a very hot ass, but it's going to live. Fortunately, its coat didn't burn, but your ass now has a perm." Henrietta shouted, "My ass has gone all frizzy, and your smelly ass has made me all dizzy. I expect you to say you're going to pay for all the repairs to each of the hairs on my ass." I had to concede, and so we agreed that the following day I'd go out of my way to take her ass to the local ass repair shop. Following the blast, my smelly ass at last had nothing more to fear, for its bowel had no more fuel with which to howl. The hazy cloud of burning gas began to clear, but to my dismay, my ass's rear remained stuck in the hole. My ass now looked deflated, but with its one free hind leg it struck out, accidentally giving Henrietta's ass a clout. "My ass is getting kicked," screamed Henrietta. Henrietta inspected her ass and said, "The kicks have left skid marks all over my ass. You must clean my ass." So I pulled out a rag from my old bag and said, "Didn't your mother ever teach you how to clean your own ass?" She said, "Of course, but my ass is taking part in the next Ass of the Year Championships next week at Ascot. I wouldn't want to be in your shoes if I lose." As I carefully cleaned her ass, I looked around at my ass, which was still stuck in the hole in the charred grass, and I worried I'd be late for a very important dinner date with my wife, Cass, and her mate, Kate. Just as I was thinking, how am I ever going to stop my ass from stinking? And how am I ever going to get my ass out of this sorry situation? Fate stepped in to save my ass. By chance, my Polish mate, called Fate, who everyone thought was great, walked in through the gate carrying a pole, just as you would expect considering he was from Poland, the land of Poles. I said, "Fate, it would be really great, mate, if you could stick your pole in this hole in the grass and save my ass." So we all put our trust in Fate and didn't have long to wait before he stuck his pole in the hole in the grass and saved my sorry ass. That evening, while sharing a glass with my wife Cass and her mate Kate during our dinner date, I said, "It's not every day that on your way you get your smelly ass stuck in a hole dug by a mole and get gassed by a major blast of ass radiation." Cass glanced up at me and said, "Next time you meet a lass, don't get her to tickle your ass, then it won't get stuck in a hole and you won't need a pole to save your smelly ass." The end.
Oh dear.
Very
I heard you snickering there through the.
Yeah.
It came through. That was there. There we are. Oh. So next time I see you will probably be maybe Monday night for the before after pre-show after show. I don't know what Alan calls it. He calls it something similar to that.
Yeah, it's along those lines, isn't it?
I think he puts the words thingy and in between in there as well.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, the after thingy before show or something or whatever. That's okay. It doesn't bother me. Oh, we didn't have a big panel. We didn't have a big panel tonight. What was that, Farmer?
It gets the gist of it across, doesn't it? It's a thing in the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, that's
unplanned chaos thing. Yeah.
I think we're intelligent enough to understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
That's probably why we don't get any flat earthers here, because they don't understand what we're doing.
What do they understand?
We have too much fun. They don't have fun.
Yeah,
well, the 27 people, I hope they enjoyed it. Even though they're a little bit shortish, we're still 10 minutes shy of 4 hours tonight.
Oh yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
So thanks, not a pheasant plucker's son. Thanks, Elmo. Thanks, Pip. Oh, she's changed her avatar again. How many subscribers are you, Pip? You must be nearly 700.
I think it's round about that, yeah. I think it's 690 earlier on. I don't know if I'd. Oh,
I don't know if I can have you on my panel anymore if you're going to have any more subscribers.
sorry. Oops.
Jealous much?
Who do we have
Can't look
out?
up as easy on
Have
here.
out there. Oh, Mad turned up a bit late. You're a bit late, Mad. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Death. Thanks, Andrea. Stewie. Dora. As I said, Mad. Arthur. Unsec. Demon Orb. Dora. Fred. The Elmigs. I don't know who that is. Who's out the Elmigs? The Elmigs? I haven't heard that person. Anyone? Coward Castle.
Oh, Matt's not playing.
No, I don't think I've missed anyone. I'd have to scroll up too far. I think I've caught you all. Oh no, he's got Casual's death syndrome. Oh, that's no good, Mad. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh. Oh, well, when I see Casual, I'll tell him off for you, Mad. Okay then. Thanks everybody. Say good night to the scorched almonds. I mean peanuts.
Peanuts.
Good night, nuts.
Roasted peanuts.
Come on, Elmo.
Yeah. Good night, salted cashews.
Oh, you bugger.
Yeah. Oh, cashews.
Okay.